So let me get this straight. We are two dudes who
Yes.
run an extremely successful YouTube channel going
Yes.
out to millions and millions of people every day.
True.
We talk about gaming news. We do a little bit of like funny stuff on the side. We watch movies. We watch anime.
Yeah.
We talk with our fans. We create a good community and stuff
That's right.
like that. And then on the side of all of that,
Yes.
you're diverting energy and time into watching different brands of circular saw blades.
Being tested, correct, yes.
What's happening, everybody, and welcome to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
It's going... Do you know what? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Is it after yesterday? Is that why you're not sure?
It really is, yeah. But previous to yesterday, it was going good, and now I'm actually depressed and I'm not even an Xbox fanboy.
Yeah, there we go. So just for the record, everyone, we're recording this a day later than the usual time they record it. It's Friday the 24th of July. This is the day after the big Xbox showcase conference, the game showcase they had, where they showed off a ton of new games. That's going to be probably one of the biggest topics we talk about today, along with things like Ghost of Tsushima and some other little stuff that came out and whatnot. Yeah, that was the biggest thing, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Some feelings, some broken hearts, and a lot going on out there. And also some rumors that came out after. So it's the rumors that came out after the actual showcase itself about some big games, and that's all going to be talked about here today.
But before that, this podcast, along with all of our content across all of our channels, brought to you by our amazing patrons over on patreon.com/Conbrosations. Who do we have to thank?
We have Jeremy Renner, Chris, aka Batman's Robin, Diogo Dildo, Dan the Man, Record Friction, Ashton the Midnight Simp, and also a simp of Conbrosations. It does say that right there.
I'm sure it does.
That. Yeah. Carol Tavrivia, aka Catsper the Friendly Patron, Jake Ryan, aka Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan's illegitimate son, Isak the Ultimate, and Cooper. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for keeping the lights and mics on and gaming going here at Conbrosations. Did you like those names I came up with?
I did. I really enjoyed the Tom Clancy thing. I gotta say, is Cooper actually on the Patreon, or did we need to make sure he gets all the extras that he gets? Because I know he donates on the streams and to the channel and stuff. We need to make sure he gets his Patreon stuff.
He was on our Patreon at one point, but I think because he donates so much through like live streams and stuff like that, he's gone off of Patreon and just decided this is the way he's going to give us the money. Whichever ways you want to do that's completely fine to us, but we also want to give you the benefits
that's
of podcast early and stuff like that.
Completely love the support, but you get extra. Let us give it to you. At least be on the Discord so you like you get extra stuff, man.
We can like DM it to you or something. We could do something for you.
Something.
Anyway, thank you, bro, so much. That list is getting longer and longer, and it staggers me every time I open up Patreon. It's really fantastic. A couple of little housekeeping things to mention before we get really, really, really into the podcast and whatnot. We are recording this audio only this time because of the frick-ups that we had yesterday when we were recording Movie Club stuff like that. It was a very, very big day, and bloody hell, I'm glad it was over. We should have known that the Xbox conference was going to go that way based on everything else that happened that day.
Do you know what it is? It's beaten wife syndrome or whatever it is. Like, oh, but they really do love us. We just make them so angry sometimes, you know?
We do. We really do.
You know?
As well as that, it's going to be a day late for the people on Patreon. We're very sorry about that, but I'm sure you guys understand these things happen and we don't mean it.
What do you mean we don't mean it? We don't mean our apology, or we don't...
We don't mean the apology. You guys are shit
I was
anyway,
gonna say,
you don't deserve anything.
Cool.
It is also from the day of this being published, which is going to be on a Saturday. It is 116 days until Cyberpunk 2077 and only 26 days until the next delay. And also, we have 1 week left on the Conbrosations 2077 t-shirts at that reduced price using the link in the description and the show notes and wherever you're listening to this.
They're great tees, man.
I like them a lot. I do honestly like the whole Cyberpunk logo. Obviously, me personally and you, we've been Cyberpunk has been on our brain the whole time.
Yeah.
Hard to get it out of us. But yeah, that is available. And also, if you are supporting us on Patreon and you do want to get that t-shirt, there is a tier as well for you to up to, as well as support us a little bit more if you choose to.
Yeah.
Check that as well in the description. Actually, do you know what? There's one other thing I want to mention as well. 2 other things, actually.
Okay.
You've been doing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima content over on Eat, Sleep, Game, Repeat. And I think people should go and check that out as well, because it's in the description.
I think what we'll probably do is put up a video, one of those videos on this and maybe the Conversations channel, just so everybody can, with like a little intro, maybe we'll record the intro next week saying that like I've been making this stuff, and we'll show people so that they can see that like what the channel is. Because I think a lot of people, I think the Discord is well aware, but there's a lot of guys that are sub to this channel who are here for like gaming content in general, but I'm making Ghost of Tsushima specific, at least right now, Ghost of Tsushima specific content. So we didn't put it on, well, we didn't put it on this channel for a couple of reasons. One is that it's another test. It's one of our other tests about does a channel grow better when it's one thing specific, you know? Which I think Walshy actually was already that test, and it turns out yes. But we had to test, does that work when it's not freaking AC, you know?
Yeah, when it's a good game. When it's a good
exactly.
game. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that should be my next video, like Assassin's Creed, the AC of Japan or something.
They should have gone to Japan just like Ghost. But yeah, go and check that out, guys. He's doing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima content over there. If you're interested in that, that is the hype at the moment. And we will be talking like light impressions, no spoilers later on in the show, towards the end probably, so people can know where that is.
Cool.
So that'll be something to talk about. And also, I have been doing some Cyberpunk content as well on the Conbrosations channel. Again, link in the description. Go check that out. Help us out. Likes and shares. It all helps us out and makes the channel.
It's really good.
Amazing.
I normally would not say anything good about you behind your back, let alone to your face. But like, I was really impressed. Your editing's way better than mine. My stuff is literally just gameplay footage with my commentary on it. And I've got a little bit funky with some of the editing. Like when you do the Mythic Tail fights, you have these really long, very Kurosawa esque like standoff scenes.
Yes.
And I didn't think like my video should be 3 minutes of these two dudes standing off, so I cut a lot of it out to just up the pace a bit, but so you can still see it and get the stuff. And so I was like, cool, yeah, I'm getting fancy with it. And then you bring out your thing, and I'm like, frick, he's cutting between live, footage, face. He's cutting between like this stuff, and he's adding these sick overlays and
I don't want you to ever feel like you're like demoralized when you feel like that, because I also want to help you get your videos to where you want it to be. The only reason why mine is that level that you see right there is because I've been literally doing this kind of editing, this kind of like deep editing for years now, like years. Yeah. And you're not going to fall right into it, but one day you'll be like that and you'll be like, so Ed, do you want me to edit that for you? And I'll be like, motherfucker, this guy. I taught him everything he knows. Yeah. How could he do this to me?
Good video got there. Pity if someone else edited it for you. That reminds me, next week, we don't have anything that could go wrong early in the day.
Yes.
Which we had this week. Fingers crossed. So we had a couple of things for, we should do those blue screen things I was talking about.
Yes.
That I think would be fun. Oh, great, a circular saw. Awesome.
I can't hear it, but fucking, I love how they nail the timing. They're like, wait a minute, is Sheps must be doing the True Gamer podcast. All right, no problem. Start up the saw, lads. Start the saw.
It's insane. We're 5 minutes into this thing. So
yeah, without all the bullshit at the beginning where we were just talking crap.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had these ideas. I think we'll get a chance to like do some extra content that we were talking about. Do that, which I think will be fun. People will see it in the video. I wouldn't call it content, but I think it will just be a fun little like. What would you even call it? I guess it like. ups our production value.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that. I was just gonna say up the production value, make us look professional because we need that. Really, we really do need that. Yeah, it could be quite fun.
Hopefully.
One final thing to mention, and then we'll get this podcast started, I promise, is that the podcast now, the True Gamer podcast, the Conbrosations podcast,
Yeah.
Movie Club, and Anime Club are all in separate podcast feeds right now. So if you guys are interested in listening gaming stuff, you can subscribe to the True Gamer podcast, go to your favorite podcast services. If you want the Conbrosations podcast, where we just talk about every bloody thing under the sun and we make jokes about it, Conbrosations podcast, Movie Club as well, and Anime Club if you're a big anime fan like Sheps over here.
Yeah, buddy.
And training me here. If you guys want to get any of that, you can go to your favorite podcast services. I think Nywroc sent me a picture, and I spent a lot of time trying to make the podcast feeds look all smooth and beautiful and have their own theme and everything. And he sent it to me. He's like, "This looks really nice." I was like, "Yes, one person appreciated it. That's a success. Success,
Right. That's a good point, because prior to this, all four of those podcasts went into the same feed. Like, was it on Spotify or something?
Yeah,
Whatever it was, it's like 40 quid. How much was it? It's like £10 a month or something for
£10 per month from like SoundCloud was the place who was hosting it, and it would go to everywhere else. And we was like, we're not gonna pay £10 per account per month to get all of those looking beautiful. Right. So we just put it all in the same one.
Right.
But then on podcast services where you don't have the thumbnail for each episode and it's just a generic Conbrosations orange, it just looks like, what the fuck is going on in this feed? It's just, as a gamer one, there's nothing. There's Belle Delphine. What's going on in this feed?
So it cleans everything up. So you can, I think, are we going to make a feed with everything for people that just want everything, or are we going to leave it like this and they can mix and match?
I think it's best to do it this way, because cool. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and if you do on your service, it just pops up to the top or the newest one that comes up there.
Cool.
So you can all do that. And also, all the Patreon people, get your RSS feeds if you can. Put that in your phone, because you guys get it early and you will get every single podcast there as well. Use it. It's one of your benefits. Go do that, guys.
And rank us or rate us 5 stars, whatever it is. I think apparently it helps, but I mean, I think mostly it's just you guys anyway. But it will be good. It's good to do. Obviously, liking the videos and all that stuff is another way that you can support us. But now that we're this far into it, this podcast has other people to thank.
Yes. It does. We have our true gamers. That's right. Our true gamer bros who support us at the $5 tier and above our true gamers. Those people are Jeremy Horde, Chris Williams, Diogo, Dan, Record Friction, Ashton, Catsper I was saying Catsper the friendly patron, but I'm going to say his normal name. Catsper Coral, Max H, Benedict Clobbers, Isak Manny, Kuba, that's all it is, Kuba. Yep. Adam Sunling, Ditlotic, Real Cinema, Fishy, Jake Ryan, and... Okay, let me get ready for this. Sarah saw a shot silk sash shop full of shot silk sashes, and the sunshine shone on the side of the shot silk sash. Oh, fucking hell, this is all right. One more try from the beginning. Sarah saw a shot silk sash shop full of shot silk sashes as the sunshine shone on the side of the shot silk sash shop. Only one mistake that time. Yeah, woo!
Mate, every time.
That's fucking crazy. And do you know what's extra special? The person who this is has James's like almost like resting bitch face as his picture. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, guys, thank you, bro, so much for supporting us, all you true gamers out there. It really means the world. This podcast was actually made just because you guys supported us in this way.
It's pretty cool. That list is starting to get genuinely very long. The true gamers and above, it is a lot of people, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, freaking amazing. Yeah. Thank you, bros. Thank you. All right, shall we get deep diving into this podcast?
Let's start off with let's deep dive directly into the predetermined. I can't.
We need to think of more D's. I don't know what we're gonna do.
We always need more D.
We always need more D. Let that be a stamp on every video game from now on. More D. So yeah, let's talk about the big thing, the Xbox Games Showcase that was done yesterday as of recording this. It was being hyped up to be something very big. In fact, I have a few quotes here from some insiders who were saying Microsoft are getting ready to have a night of quote mic drop moments.
Okay. I mean, if they meant Sony dropping the mic, then
I think actually what they meant were they were dropping the ball and not the mic. That's what they were thinking right there. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. That's right. I got you guys. So previous to this, there was one really cool announcement that I saw, genuinely good announcement.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, this could mean that they're going to bring out some big guns when this show comes out, which was that they combined Xbox's Game Pass service and xCloud, that streaming service, all into one for no extra cost. I was like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. You buy a Game Pass, you just get to play all those games wherever the hell you are for like 10 quid a month.
They didn't mention that.
They didn't mention it in the show. They mentioned it before, but that was separate. And I was like, that's what made me excited. I thought maybe they've got some really big stuff. I will say that on its own, how do you feel about it? That's pretty cool, right?
Dude, Game Pass alone is a great service. The fact that it has the xCloud streaming stuff on it, even better. It's a great service. I hope Sony adopts something similar because it is really genuinely good.
Yeah.
And in terms of services, like Xbox is actually doing some interesting stuff. That's okay. I will say as well, my my opinion on the rest of the show has softened a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the problem with the show. It's much like when AC Valhalla had its gameplay reveal. Yeah. And it wasn't really what we were told it would be, but it wasn't really Ubisoft saying it was that. It was Microsoft pitching it that way, right?
Yeah.
And so Ubisoft got a lot of flack that wasn't really their fault, right?
Exactly.
I think that's kind of similar to this. Xbox marketed this thing as like a big, amazing, like mic drop is going to like blow Sony's thing out the water. That's improper because it just absolutely did not. But the games that we saw, actually, some are quite good. Like, should we just dive into talking about them?
I've got a list if you want, and I can read them all out, and then if any point you can stop me if you want to talk about it, and I'll do the same. So they showed off a Dragon Quest 11S, Echoes of Elusive Age.
That was the JRPG thing, right?
That was right there. Exomecha. Didn't strike me a chord. I don't remember that exactly as well. I'm seeing the logo here and it doesn't strike me. They showed a little bit. Oh no, do you know what? That was in the pre-show before the actual show started. Okay, that's what it was. Cool. They also showed off Watchdog Legions in that and Echo Generations or some other things.
Couldn't care less.
Hello Neighbor, some Xbox ID games. They showed Halo Infinite, obviously. Halo Infinite was the biggest
We'll talk about that last.
I was going to say, we'll talk about that last. That's a good point right there. State of Decay 3, that looked gorgeous, and the zombie deer thing looked very fucking freaky.
Yeah, not for me, but
not for me,
the trailer, that's exactly the sort of thing I expected to see from this. It looked brilliant. It's a game I'm not interested in, but I looked at it and went, that's high quality. It's got a good, it's intriguing. It's got a hook. I can see the risk. Starts off with this chick getting stalked by a wolf and she screams at the wolf, runs away. She goes and finds that same wolf dead, being eaten by a deer, like a zombie deer, and it screams at her like it's very, it's again, not my cup of tea, but I looked and went, whoever is into this game, they probably feel really good about that. If anybody is kind of into this thing, they might be curious about it,
State of Decay's been a weird game for me because from that trailer it looked like it's something up my alley, but I've never been ever found myself going into YouTube and going State of Decay gameplay or anything like that. And I wonder why that is. Maybe I'll check it after this. They also announced Forza Motorsport, the next in the chapter. They didn't give any release date. They didn't actually give any gameplay. They said that it was too early for that. And they just showed some stills and some cars and whatnot and stuff like that. They showed Everwild, which was, that one that had the weird... We said they looked like Pokemon but they were big and they were like fluffy and stuff like that. Yeah, so
so this is where I think, because Microsoft said, or those insiders said there were mic drop moments. This wasn't a mic drop. So we had a similar game to this in the Sony reveal, which the Sony conference, which was the Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
That's right. Yeah.
And they're somewhat similar. They got a similar feel. There's no risk. There's no conflict. There's no hook to this. What's this one called? What's Microsoft one's called?
Everwild.
Everwild. I'm sure for whoever's into that kind of game, it will be. I don't doubt it will be a good game. There was nothing that made me go, "Oh, I'm interested in that." But I did see something like that from Kenna, which was, for example, I at least know that there's combat in the Kenna Bridge of Spirits because we see her pull back some spirit arrow, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I know there's going to be some conflict and some risk. We didn't see any of that. It just seemed like people dancing around giant Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't really. I have no idea what the game's about. Whereas
there were some people in our chat that said that they liked the art style of it, and it
looked great.
I think this game might be for those people who are like, I just want to be visually pleased. And I imagine there's.
What was the other game that they showed off? It's like the platform, the side scroller. What was that called?
Ooh,
it was really pretty. Yeah, they were talking about it going up to 120 FPS. The little dude was glowing
Ori
blue.
and the Blind Forest. Oh, so Ori and the Willow of the Wisps. That was it.
So that, in a similar sense, is similar to this, right? It's like something unusual, really artsy style, right? Mm-hmm. But with Ori, which I don't know anything about, I've seen it around. I don't really know anything about it. I could at least see what was going on. I could see what the hooks were and what I was supposed to be interested in, as well as the art style, you know?
Yeah.
I could see that there would be some combat. It was a side scroller. I had an idea of what the game was going to be like. Didn't get that at all with what is it called? I can't even remember what it's called, man.
Everwild.
Everwild. So,
it's not a good sign that you don't know the name.
Right. Like I remember there are names that I remember and I'm not getting the Xbox, you know, like I remember well, I've now forgot it.
I was going to say, you saying you remember is not a good thing. I will say that we've got terrible memories, but I when we go through them, you're going to be like, that's one of the games. That's one of the games. I'm sure you'll remember it then.
Medium. There we go. Medium looks really interesting.
Yeah. Let me run through a few more of these games right here. Tell Me Why. This one was a strange one. It was like a brother and sister that had like some supernatural abilities and They had memories come back to them when they went back to where they lived before.
Yeah.
I think their faces looked a little bit odd, but it's very clearly like a smaller studio and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if it's got a decent story, then I'm great. It looked interesting enough for me to at least take a look at a future trailer and whatnot.
Yeah.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that was the next one that we mentioned before.
Great looking.
Like the look of that. Great looking. 120 FPS is great to say as well. That's another thing. The Outer Worlds Peril Be Gorgon, which is like a DLC that they're going to add on to it. Obsidian, I mean, those guys, they make fantastic games. They do. This is the DLC for it. Everyone who's into Outer Worlds. I never got into it, but people were saying that Outer Worlds is great. They can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Grounded. This was a fun one.
Grounded was pretty funny. They went with a marketing approach that is something that I would have suggested. That whole like,
this is totally you.
It really is. I saw this and was like, whoever is doing this should be hired by Sony because they get it. You know?
Yeah. They were like,
if you want the biggest game of the year, wait for Cyberpunk. But if you want the smallest game of the year, you know, and because as you're looking at this, you've already seen like 30 seconds of what looks to be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right?
Yeah.
Dudes like battling ants and stuff in grass, you know, they're like an inch big. If I was going to play any of these games that weren't my usual, it would be that. You know, Grounded looks quirky and fun.
As well as Obsidian's talking about the... it is Obsidian that does Outer Worlds, right? Could you Google that for me? Because for some reason in my head it's different, but I said Obsidian and now I'm second-guessing myself. As well as Obsidian coming out with that DLC, I hope.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is.
It is, okay, good. Whew, thank God. I don't want to seem like a fake gamer here on the True Gamer podcast. They also showed off a very, very short tease reveal trailer for a game called Avowed. That was the one that they launched those arrows in the air.
Yes, the Lord of the Rings style thing, yeah.
Yes, it looked very cool. I like that setting. The whole pulling out the sword that seems to be embodied with like magic, and then he's got like the magic hand and whatnot. And there was like a troll coming on or something like that.
Kind of Skyrim feel. Yeah, looked good.
Yeah, but not Skyrim that was from many, many years ago, just ported to every single console, right? I'm sure we'll get Skyrim on the PS5.
Yeah,
Mark my words.
It's just a mod for Skyrim.
Exactly. But that looks That looked interesting. There's not much of it, but it looks enough to get me interested at least.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm definitely looking forward to see the next trailer.
Yeah. As Dusk Falls, this one, if you remember, was it was a very strange and to some people interesting art style. It was like they took pictures of people and then painted on a computer using like that picture, and they would take pictures from multiple angles and then it would just be switching towards them. It's a story game. It looked interesting enough. The art style was what was interesting to me about that one.
Personally, I feel like that game, they didn't have enough. Xbox didn't have enough, and they were like, "Oh, you've got the colored storyboards for this game. Put them together in animation software and chuck it in." That didn't
seem that way, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the game to come out looking even close to that. That's my impression. I could be wrong, but I suspect that they just needed something else.
If you remember, and if I remember, which is not a good thing to start off with, we're both terrible at remembering things.
Yes.
Remind me to talk about because the way they set up this event was that they were saying that this was going to be very, very early looks, like the most earliest looks on games and whatnot. So
I feel like going to animating your storyboard is a hair too early, though. Just saying.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see like the earliest of gameplay that might be a bit janky, and we can forgive that.
Yeah.
But
like your pilot episode, right? Like, like, you know, that 40k game, which I forgot the name of. After Dark. No,
I've got it here somewhere. Yeah, Dark Tide.
Dark Tide, right? That is a like 15-second CG clip, right? And it's kind of your first look. It's basically the pilot episode of what will go on to be a 10 series, 24 episode show, right?
Yeah.
So 24 episode a series, 10 series show, like a Supernatural or what is
Smallville,
Big Town, yeah.
I love that that's your thing and my thing is Master Chef.
That's it. Like, so that is an early look. That is, hey, look, this is the game we're making. Here is our CG promo of the things you can be looking forward to, right? It's like a clip. It's a trailer. It's not storyboard, man. It's not storyboard.
No. We also got a look, well, not a look, I should say. We got to see something from Hellblade 2. They didn't show anything of this game. They showed a clip of a trailer that they showed before.
Yes.
And then they said, guys, we're working on Hellblade 2. We've
Check
actually
out
gone
Iceland.
out to Iceland. Yeah, we've gone out to Iceland. And I was like, how far out is this game that you're still doing location scouting? Like, this game is probably like 3-4 years out.
The thing is, they said early looks at the game. That's what was pitched. And again, that's why I feel like that artsy one, the art style thing, that isn't what the game looks like. That is genuinely their storyboard, and it's all they had because they couldn't fill the space. So instead, they were like, "Oh, cool, you're making Hellblade 2," which actually, I'll be honest, it looks really good. That trailer had me interested, right? But that is not an early look at the game. We didn't see the game. We didn't see anything new. We saw the dev team talking about going to scout locations in Iceland and that it will be maybe set in Iceland. Great. Where's my early look at the game?
We went on a holiday, and this is what happened, guys.
Here's our holiday slideshow. There'll be a quiz at the end.
I found that funny. I found that so funny. The next game, Psychonauts 2. We got to see a bit of Jack Black singing in the trailer right there. We got to see
Psychonauts 2. What did you feel about it? How did you feel about it?
Psychonauts is a classic, right? I wasn't expecting much, and we knew that Psychonauts was coming. I was just like, but we did say on the stream, and I feel like this is your point if you want to make it, about the Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Do you want to make it?
Pretty much.
Was your point?
Ratchet and Clank. I've played Psychonauts before, right? They're not doing anything different from what we saw. It will look different. It will be a different game, but there's nothing different about it. The Ratchet and Clank stuff, look, it's next gen. There's something new. Like when they demoed Knack, when Sony demoed Knack, and we saw all those different particles. Like, yeah, we've seen games like Knack. We've already played Ratchet and Clank at this point. But what we haven't seen is all those particles. That's what the new thing they were showing us. This game is just the next installment. It feels like everything with Xbox is just the next installment of a thing,
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
there is a point that I have to bring up about that, but I'm going to bring up after all these games that we talk about. I promise I'll remember this one. We also got to see Destiny Beyond Light. They made an announcement that all the game, the base game, and the expansion Beyond Light, which does actually cost money, will be on Game Pass when it drops in September. I think that got delayed to November. That did actually get delayed to November. So yeah, that's going to be.
I mean, that is great. There is a value there, which you figured out on stream.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. But Destiny is already, the base game's free.
Yeah, I think this was more of a Destiny needed. They want more people, as many people as possible, to be on their game, and it's already made. So this is just extra people, extra eyes to their platform.
I just realized something. Does this fancy thing that you get for Destiny really fit in an Xbox exclusives showcase? No.
Do you know what? No,
it doesn't.
To be fair, they didn't say it was exclusive, but
they showed
at the showing
end,
all of this, they should be exclusive.
At the end, was it Phil Spencer or the other guy said you just saw like 11 Xbox exclusive things?
I think he might have said games on Xbox. They're very careful with their words. Yeah,
it doesn't fit. Like we saw PlayStation exclusives at the Sony event, right? And yes, we saw a lot of Xbox exclusives. Most of them were Xbox exclusives, but there's at least one which is Destiny that isn't. And the thing that they were really showing off was that you get a good deal if you get it on Game Pass. Yeah. Is that enough to buy the wrong console? Excuse me, a different console.
I was gonna say your bias side just popped out for a moment.
Right. It feels out of place. So we've had two games. So Hellblade literally showed us nothing. It wasn't an early look that they said it was going to be. We saw an early look that so early they just colorized their storyboard. and Destiny, that's three that don't fit what this thing said it was going to be.
Yeah.
What else did we see?
We saw Stalker 2. That was just a teaser trailer. That looked very cool. It was like sort of radiation, guys in like hazmat suits in like a dystopian future. It looked very cool. I like the look of that. We didn't know there was a Stalker 1 though, to be honest. So...
I did not. I'll be honest. The thing that had me most interested about it was it looked like the Chernobyl map in Call of Duty 4.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, cool. I dig the vibe, I guess,
Yeah. We saw Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. There was just a little teaser trailer for that. I'm
into it. I knew what it was pretty early on. Like seconds in, I could tell because I'm familiar with the IP. Fun. I mean, I don't know what the game's going to be like, but I like the idea of it. So
yeah, we saw the most awkward compilation of people playing Tetris Effect Connected.
Oh, that was weird. Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
It was so they all started bopping their heads at one point to the music.
There was this one guy with his daughter, and the daughter was so awkward because she felt like maybe she should be playing, but the guy only had the one controller, so she's like holding her hands like clasped together in the middle, trying to like bop along to music that isn't there.
Do you know what? The way it always goes is if you're going to have your child in the room while you're playing games, you either have them play the game or you tell them to get out of the goddamn room and put them to bed and be like,
Absolutely.
Okay, now I'm playing games.
Yeah, for sure.
One day when I have children, I'm sure I'm going to be exactly the same way. I'm sure. I'm sure I'm going to totally be able to play games. I'm sure.
Definitely, we'll have the time for sure.
The Gunk, which was again another short trailer, but it was interesting. It was interesting.
Do you know what? It did look okay. They need to change the title.
Yes,
desperately.
We both said we were like, "Ooh, that title."
How about this? Working on the same premise, just the one word, goop.
Yeah. I mean, it will probably be confused with what was her name? Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina eggs that she has.
Oh God, I completely forgot. I mean, what about
so you and Gwyneth Paltrow are just on the same page?
Me and Gwen, old G Dubs. That's what I call her. Cause we're on the same page.
You guys call each other the G Dubs. That's it.
How about just Gunk then? Like something about the Gunk, it feels strange, but Gunk, you're like, oh okay,
It was an odd choice.
Very strange, yeah.
There was The Medium. That was a really cool one. I'm still super excited for that.
And interestingly enough, that was the first showcase. So something that Sony did, because I feel it's appropriate to kind of compare these two events. especially with Ratchet and Clank. They showed off a lot of stuff that the games are going to be able to do on PS5 that they cannot do on current gen, right? So like something that Ratchet and Clank did was you see these rifts open up and you can see into the other world, and that isn't an image playing. That world's there. Like if you go through that thing, you're in that world. No render times, it's live. It boots up because of the way their hard drives work.
Yep.
That's new. That's unusual, right?
Yeah.
The Medium showed us the two maps running side by side.
Exactly. They're apparently two worlds rendered simultaneously.
Right. That's actually a flex. Why not flex? Why not do that? They had that one thing. Do you remember the first one they showed us where a lot of these things were running? I think they said it was running on the Xbox at 60 FPS or something, 4K 60 FPS. They never mentioned it.
Yeah.
They're not. They're trying to.
Their first game showcase.
Yeah. It's so strange. They flex on the fact that they have like, this Destiny thing, and it's actually a little bit cheaper if you get the Game Pass. That's not the flex. The flex is look at this thing rendering 2 games at once. That's a flex. It's so bizarre, but it did look interesting. It's not my cup of tea.
For me, it's totally up my alley. Totally up my alley. I like the whole psychological thriller thing and the whole psychological gameplay. It's so cool. It looks really good.
And I hope you stream. Well, you're not gonna. Oh shit! You've got an Xbox One. You could get it. What?
This actually is going to be an Xbox Series X only game. Okay. It can only be done on an Xbox Series X because of the whole rendering 2 worlds simultaneously and whatnot.
That's good. Yeah. I approve. I actually am okay with that move, and I'm really serious about it. I think we need next gen only titles coming out the gate.
Well, this game.
I know it's a bit away.
Isn't no, actually I think it says holiday 2020 on it, but what I was gonna say was let me see, the Medium, what studio makes it, developer Bloomer team, platforms.
Okay, so they won't do smart delivery is what you're saying?
No, not that. I was gonna say that they're not owned by Microsoft, I think. Developer Bloober team, is that not owned by Microsoft? The reason why, because Microsoft said there weren't going to be any exclusive games for the Xbox Series X in the first year.
So because they're not Microsoft, they can say, well, we're not Microsoft, we're only releasing it on this because
they're like, we don't want to hold back any part of our game or remove features just because you want to put it on your previous gen console.
Your Xbox One won't work. It won't play it. That's not exactly. It's intended for the Xbox Series X. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's good.
Yeah,
it looks interesting. It isn't my thing. I know it is your thing, and I'm maybe if you get it on that Nvidia GeForce Now thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's going to come to Windows, so that could be an option.
Well, then what's the point?
What is the point of owning an Xbox?
X? I just accidentally did that. I wasn't even considering. I was like, you don't need to buy an X. Just get it on G4. Oh, never mind. No one needs to buy the Series X.
Exactly. That's one thing I want to bring up later, actually, is that I feel like this whole event sort of kind of reaffirmed why you shouldn't get an Xbox Series X.
I tend to agree.
So strange. Another game, a new Genesis Phantasy Star Online. That was one of those JRPGs, the one with the cool suit and those huge monsters and whatnot. Cool for the people who like that. Crossfire X, that seemed like a really cool one.
That looked interesting.
Looked gorgeous, that one. I like the look of that one. Sea of Thieves. This was something else afterwards. They mentioned that Sea of Thieves, Forza 4, Gear Tactics, and Gears 5 is all going to be receive a next-gen update and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then one big thing they dropped at the end, Fable.
Yes.
One last drop at the end.
Yeah.
And it was barely anything. It was just like some scenery, some shrubbery, and then a city in the distance. But it was like, Fable is being made.
This was so well done because it took me through a roller coaster where I'm like, okay, this is definitely Fable. And then we had like 10 seconds of a fairy flying around sniffing flowers. I'm like, no, this isn't Fable. And then it gets munched by a toad. I'm like, yeah, this is Fable. Because you haven't played it, have you? You never really.
No, never.
Is your Xbox One the first Xbox you've ever had?
Yes, it is.
Right,
it is actually, yeah.
Right, that makes sense because then otherwise you would have probably played Halo and stuff and Fable and shit.
Yeah.
So Fable, I feel like you have a really good feel for what Fable's like just from that teaser. It gives you the flavor of Fable. It's got these weird. For example, I remember this is freaking hilarious. I think it's Fable 2. there is a door that you can only get through if you're super overweight.
What?
So it's a speaking door, and it will tell you. You go to open it, and it says, "Only those who ignore societal conventions of beauty can enter me," or something like that. And so
Right.
basically, you have to throughout playing the game, you have to basically pig out and get really fat, and then it'll open. It's the only way. There is no other way to get in there.
That's hilarious. That sounds really fucking cool.
Really funny and quirky, and like you could get married and buy a house, and I think there are cursed weapons. There's all sorts of funny stuff. I haven't played it in years, but it was really good, really funny, and quirky.
Can I say one thing then? So from what I'm getting from this, Fable is it narrative? Is it a story game? What would you categorize it as?
Yeah, I guess it kind of is. It's kind of like shit. How would you call it? Yeah, it's story based. It's kind of like quest like a la early generations of what things like The Witcher would become, or like it's kind of in a sense it's like a fantasy version of Mass Effect. If you're familiar with Mass Effect,
Right?
really,
Yeah.
kind of like that, except a little bit less travel. So you go around, do quests, and get stories, or kind of like a cartoony Skyrim in a sense, you know.
So what would you say if I told you that the rumors are that this Fable game is going to be an MMO?
I heard this on the Discord last night.
Yes. So MMO, for those who didn't hear, because you think you breathed out right at the moment I said MMO.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was a big sigh. So yeah, it will be an MMO. That is what the rumor is. I hope that's wrong because, and we will continue to talk about Fable, but in a similar vein, it looks like they're changing the model for Halo as well. And we will talk about that when we get to Halo. But I am genuinely worried that they have done something fairly lazy, it seems, which is with their console, with all their games, they're just going to do the next installment, right?
Yeah.
For the rest of it, the changes that they are making, which they seem to have made to Halo and maybe making with Fable, seem to be changing from not just the next installment, but to the next installment, but getting away from all the things that you did like and making bad decisions. That's what it kind of looks like. So I really hope they don't do that with Fable. That's not what it should be. It should just be just leave it as Fable. Like they have the feel right from that trailer, so I'm not too worried yet. But we haven't seen really anything. However,
it kind of go on.
No, go on. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it kind of feels like when Bungie first left Microsoft.
Yes.
And they were like, all right, guys, we're going to be making the next game, the game that we've all been waiting for. And people were like, the guys that made Halo, oh my God, this is going to be so amazing. They know how to do great story and great shooters. And then they made Destiny, and all those people that were waiting for things, they were like, now I love Destiny, but people were like, oh, it's not like a more cooler Halo. Oh,
it's not what I was expecting. And Destiny's fine. There's nothing wrong with Destiny.
Yeah.
And the people that are Destiny fans absolutely love it. That's all they play. It's all they want to play. Yeah. But it does look like, and this is a good transition into Halo talk, that Halo are transitioning away from the regular linear level thing, which is there is absolutely space for Doom 2016, Doom Eternal. I freaking love those games. They're so good. Yeah. And that's all they are, a level grind. And that's what I expect. That's what I want from Halo as well. That's literally what I want, And then they're going and adding all the worst freaking possible things. And it looks like 343 are out of ideas because what they went to is just a worse implementation of exactly what Bungie did when they went to Destiny.
Yep.
So
they've added like a level system and XP and stuff like that, and apparently there's going to be no more numbered releases of Halo, and it's going to be more of an updated game as it goes along.
And
very strange.
It is weird. And for the record, right, XP not in and of itself a bad thing. Doom Eternal functionally has a system like that, right? Which is that you find enough things and you can unlock perks and stuff, right?
Yeah, you find like the Sentinel batteries and things like that, and
which is kind of similar to XP, which is defeat enough things or achieve enough of a challenge and you get to make these changes, right? And upgrades. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It could be cool to see like upgrades to weapons and things, right? That you can do if you find enough like alien technology as Master Chief, you can make adjustments to his weapons or whatever. That would be cool, very Doom, right? But man, it feels just like they're doing it. They're taking all of those things and going the exact wrong way with it, you know?
Yeah.
I think a system like The Last of Us, where you find enough spare parts and you can upgrade your guns or weapons or whatever, that would fit. You know?
That's the difference. That's the difference that I see anyway. When you mention like the Doom Eternal and the like finding Sentinel batteries and like The Last of Us, where you're finding springs and stuff like that, that's more of a like a puzzle and scavenge kind of thing. Whereas XP is more like you just can do anything, literally anything, and then you get the points for
I
it.
agree.
It seems a bit less, like a bit lower in my opinion.
I completely agree there.
Now we're deep into Halo. Let's talk about our impressions of what we saw of Halo Infinite. This was set up by Halo, the official Twitter account, and by Microsoft as the big thing, the game that you will want to buy when you buy the next generation console, the Xbox Series X in holiday 2020. Thinking
Their
November
flagship title for the flagship next gen console. And on stream, I started the hashtag not my Halo.
Yeah.
It looks garbage, man. We went and found some Halo 3 footage. It's not that big of an improvement.
It really isn't. And pictures have been going around on Twitter, people trying to make comparisons, and it really, really shows. The worst comparison that I've seen is that, as we've just said, this is supposed to be the flagship game for the flagship console, the thing that's supposed to make you go, oh crap, I am missing out on Xbox. It was being compared to things like The Last of Us and the fidelity of a game that's on this generation compared to this game that's on the next generation.
Forget
and
that.
And it looked way better.
I saw a comparison with that and Is it Bright Memory?
Oh, Bright Memory, yeah. That was the game they showed off in the last Xbox conference.
Which, that was made by one guy.
Yep.
Halo Infinite had a $500 million budget.
That was something I wanted to bring up. So yeah, let's talk about that. So 343, the rumors were that they were given essentially a blank check. The rumors were $500 million they were given to make Halo Infinite, to make it the game to sell Xboxes. So they can say, guys, this is it. And this is what they got for $500 million.
If it was me, I would have spent, if someone goes to me, Sheps, you're going to be like getting all the executive control and all that stuff for the next Halo, your budget's $500 million. I would have genuinely sunk maybe $100 million into things like story, actors, all of that, right? Just first off the bat. Then I would have put a ton of people on the animations. At least, maybe it's easier to say that now, having seen what we saw, because frankly, that footage, forget the graphical quality, right? And I did see someone said apparently that's an older build, which I don't find that a very acceptable. I don't find that a very acceptable answer or like defense, because if you have footage of a more recent build, why wouldn't you use that? Because this is your last major event, all the eyeballs are on this, and you're putting this thing up where there's texture pops, fine, but like the big things that bug me, the gun looked garbage, right? It looked like, again, we went and found Halo 3 footage playing on a 360. It didn't look that much of a difference. His grappling hook, we've just come off the back of Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
The super shotgun grappling hook is so meaty and it feels so good. There's so much weight to the attacks and damage and something so substantial about that hook. And this one felt awful. And apparently the newer build, someone sent me footage of it, it does look better. And in that they had music as, oh my God, it felt so flat. There was no music.
That was the biggest thing for me. I was watching the thing and as soon as he walked out of the ship, I was like, why I can only hear birds. Like, what's going? Am I supposed to be excited for this, or are we just showing? And then he's like looking up into the sky, and then he looks over into the distance, and then he randomly takes some shots at some like little grunts and whatnot, and I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at here? Why am I excited? What are you showing me? It literally felt so empty, and so there was so much space, so much void in what I was watching, and I couldn't take it. I was like, what is going on here? And the funny thing is that I'm not a Halo fan. I've not played any of the Halos, and you are. And previous to that, you were trying to convince me to
earlier this day. Yes, it was yesterday, right?
Yeah. You were trying to convince me to play the Master Chief Collection because Halo is so cool and it's so cinematic, so amazing. I was like, cool. Well, then when we see this will get me very hyped because surely they're going to put all the bells and whistles on this one because it's going to be a system seller. Yeah. Surely this is going to be the one to get people hyped. Like when the Witcher TV series came out, tons of people went out and bought The Witcher the game. Because by association. Right. So that's what could have happened with this. People could have been like, Halo Infinite's coming. Fuck, man, that looks really good. I might go and play the Halo Master Chief Collection because of it. But that didn't spark me to do anything like that.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Crazy. And I will say, Halos 1 through 3, masterpieces. And I really mean it. And I really mean it. Because remember when COD 4 came out, right?
Yeah.
The Modern Warfare... It had to compete head-to-head with Halo, and it was a dead heat. Ooh. In 2007, like it was, those were competitors. You know,
damn.
It is a real heavy hitter, and I still think you should play Halos 1 through the Master Chief Collection. I think you should. I think you'll really enjoy it, and you'll see why people love it. But man, I had spent a good while saying, oh, maybe after this you should do it, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And then this was so disappointing. I was disappointed on two fronts. One, and I think I sent a Godfather meme that would look what they did to my boy. But I was sitting there watching you watch it and thinking, I've just bigged up Halo. Not this Halo, but I've bigged up Halo. And this is what you see of it. Bullshit. I felt really... really unhappy. And then you think that like current generation exclusives, right? The Last of Us 2, forget that. What about God of War 4? God of War 4 is way older than that. Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Those both look so much better. So much better.
Yeah.
Right? Spider-Man.
And then I have to come back to because actually, sorry, this is what I'll bundle these 2 points in together because they go together. I said on stream, I was like, everyone keeps talking about how Sony has these amazing exclusive, how they have these amazing games that make you feel things as well as look fantastic, as well as sell really well and whatnot, and hit home on with certain franchises and names and stuff like that, Spider-Man, Last of Us, etc.
And don't forget really fulfilling combat. God of War 4, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like, how good does it feel to play? So good.
Great. So great. All of those games, and as Microsoft, you see that, and you see your competitors have these games, and people love them, and that's what people want to pay money for. And then you go, right, we need something as well. We won't do anything like that, and we will do this. And then they show this Halo. And they think the name is enough to bring everybody in, but then just show something that's totally subpar. Dude. How does your mind click like that? And also, how do you say, where did the fucking money go? How did you spend $500 million on this? I just did a quick research. Do you know how much Avengers Endgame cost with all of those huge actors that cost millions of dollars?
Shit, like 300?
356 million. So it was still 150 million short of what Halo Infinite cost, and that's what we got.
Yeah,
we didn't even get a big name. Like, say they were like, and guys, we partnered up with Samuel Jackson to do this voice because he has such an epic voice, blah blah blah. Or we partnered up with this person, or did that, or we did this revolutionary thing, blah blah blah. This is why it cost this much money. Where did the money go that we got?
I wonder if they're not just dumping like 200 million into marketing afterwards. You know, like if the game costs 300, but still, if it costs 300 million.
I
Like,
can believe it because they sorry, you talking about Avengers Endgame
no, I'm
or
talking about Halo because
oh yeah.
this
I
is
could believe
not.
that.
Let's see, what did Ghost of Tsushima cost?
Probably a fraction. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima
I'm just
cost
googling. No, that's what.
59.99 apparently. No,
That's
no,
I
it's
got the
not.
exact same answer. That's what I can't find its budget. Okay, what about The Last of Us 2? Let me look for that. Budget. Okay, it costs only at least 100 million to make The Last of Us 2. Now, I
Yeah.
forget the fact that I know some people hate it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I know Ghost of Tsushima. By the way, Ghost of Tsushima just sold, I think, 2.5 million units in its first 3 days. Yeah,
Jeez. I saw the
it's
Japanese numbers, which was higher than any other game that they've
yeah.
sold over there. But fuck, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But think about that. What did it cost to make, and what did we get? Forget the story.
Mm-hmm.
How does it look? How does it play? The Last of Us 2 looks incredible, plays so smoothly. The combat is flawless. You know, hopefully, if this goes up on the YouTube version, we'll remember to include at least one of those GIFs, right? And maybe one of the GIFs for Ghost of Tsushima, so you can see what we're talking about with the smoothness of these combats, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that bugs me about the Halo thing, it looks like they just got Gary, one of the programmers, to play it.
Yeah, the guy was very he'd very jerky, look up to the sky, go
Right.
over here, start shooting and miss a bunch of shots. I was like, what's going on here? Very, very odd. Just 1 second. I don't think that you guys might hear this little humming in the background, but I'm actually dying in my room and I have to turn on the AC unit.
Cool, man.
There we go. Yeah, so Halo Infinite, that was actually a massive letdown for me. Do you want to hear one other little bit of information as well that's kind of troubling?
Sure.
So that build was from January, we said, right? For the build that we saw on the stream, right?
Yeah.
Don't know why they went with that. If it's not your best foot, then why do you put it forward? That kind of situation.
Totally
there.
agree.
Apparently, this game that was being shouted at from years ago, that was going to be a launch title for the Xbox Series X, isn't actually going to be complete on launch day.
Oh, yeah.
There is going to be a quote-unquote free ray tracing update, which...
Yeah.
Don't chat shit to me because that's the part of the game. It's not a free up. You're not like adding extra benefits to it. That should be in the game, and you guys just haven't completed it yet.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. That actually really rubbed me the wrong way. They were like, "Oh, guys, we're gonna give you even more for your money after the game launches, right? Right after you've played it, we're gonna give you even more benefit to your money, right there."
But that was part of the Destiny thing, right? Like it was like, here, look, we can push out a game knowing, Anthem as well. You remember when you had Anthem?
Yeah.
And you were playing it, and you told me there were plenty of places where you knew that was a playable section past it.
It was clearly gated off.
It was gated off. You know, it was like as you tried to fly there, you hit the invisible wall, knowing that it was meant to come out of some DLC or some like event area, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It's in a sense okay to do that with something like Destiny. We have this enormous game, plus you add extra areas, whether it's a limited edition thing or whatever, right? A timed event. But this thing where you're like, we haven't finished the game, let's just release it and update it because we're doing the Destiny thing anyway. It works for them, right? No. Destiny is a full-fledged game, and they give you extra. You can't just give out an unfinished game and call the finishing touches updates. That's not how it works. This
isn't supposed to be. This was supposed to be a game that comes out, people play and enjoy it, and then if they choose to go into the multiplayer, they do. If not, then they put it to bed. If you're not giving all of the features that you're supposed to in the game when it launches, then you're shipping an incomplete game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
That's unbelievable. That boggles my mind. And this is one of the things that Microsoft are... I have to tip my hat to them. They are the best.
Shameless is what they are.
That is what they are, the best at messaging. They can message something to make themselves look the best to consumers, to customers, to journalists, and all that sort of stuff because they just know the language. And them coming out with this one saying it's a free ray trace update, I'm like, That's supposed to be in your game. That's
Yeah.
not an update. That's not a thing you tack on the end. And for 500 million, you guys should have that. What's going to happen now? We won't ever see these numbers. We won't see the sales numbers of Halo and whatnot. We won't see how much dollars they made, even though like all the Sony exclusives, we know those numbers, etc. What happens when you've spent $500 million for this? You don't sell as many consoles in the new year because from all the Game Pass talk, people have already understood that you've abandoned console gaming, that you're all on services and you can play these games wherever you want on PC, wherever you want. So when you don't sell those consoles and you don't sell as many of this game, but you've got a few more extra subscribers on Game Pass, what are you going to say when the money doesn't equate? When you've given 500 million over here and you've gained 100 million on this side? What are you going to say to investors at that point?
The other thing is, like, we were just talking and I was like, oh, maybe you should play it. But I mean, don't buy Series X. Just get it on, get the Game Pass and play it on the NVIDIA GeForce Now.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to take a dig at Xbox there. I was trying to figure out a way that you could play medium without having to buy a Series X.
Yeah.
And it was easily done.
Exactly.
What's the point? And how many games do you actually want to play that are on the Xbox only? Like medium, maybe that Crossfire game.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I don't think Avowed is definitely one of them that's interesting, but we
Right.
haven't seen much of it yet, so we don't know what kind of a game it is.
Why do you need to get an Xbox? Why does anybody need to get an Xbox?
Mate, it's.
But then if you want to play The Last of Us, if you want to play Ghost of Tsushima, if you want to play God of War, there is only one place.
Yeah. And with that topic, there is one other thing that I want to bring up, and I did say about how like Microsoft have pretty much affirmed that there's no reason to buy an Xbox Series X just to get Game Pass. Game Pass can be bought anywhere. They pretty much in this whole showcase told you that the only thing that you need to buy, the only thing that you need to be interested in is Game Pass, and they didn't show off any reason visually, as in terms of the visual fidelity of these games, why Xbox Series X is as powerful as it is. Which game in there looked genuinely impressive, other than Medium, because I believe Medium's the only exception to the rule, and because it is exclusive.
Did we see an update from Bright Memory?
No,
Did we see
didn't.
That looked really good in the first one.
That did.
But it's
but
one
this
dude.
this is what happens when you don't go exclusive for games. When you make no exclusive games for your next gen console, all of the games need to be dialed down. They need to be reined in because they physically can't handle all these features across all of these platforms. And then it's going to make it even worse when PlayStation comes out and they've got the Spider-Man PS5 game. They've got the next Horizon game. If they show a teaser, like an in-engine or in-game gameplay teaser for God of War, and it looks stunning, they're gonna be comparisons like there was yesterday with Halo, where it's gonna be The Last of Us and Halo. It's gonna be PS5 Spider-Man and Halo, and it's gonna look night and day, and it's gonna reaffirm the message that Microsoft are putting forward, at least to me, which is you don't need to buy an Xbox Series X, and really you shouldn't.
I think unless when things release and we see what these games look like on the Series X, unless they look insanely different, that first week is like the last week of Xbox being a contender, because what we saw doesn't even look that good in comparison to when did God of War come out? 2018, right?
Yeah.
2018 title. What about 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn? Is that right?
Yeah, that was right.
That looked better than anything else.
Mate, and I mean, the best game, in my opinion, the best looking game, God of War, sorry, not God of War, The Last of Us. It did come out quite recently, but still, it's still running on the same technology as all those other games over there.
Right. And on how many teraflops again, sorry?
Exactly. Like
1.8 or whatever it is, 2, whatever.
1.8 on the base PS4, and then 4.2 on the PS4 Pro.
Which I want to say...
versus 12 teraflops on the Xbox Series X. And the new fancy RDNA architecture, which is supposed to produce even more power. That's insane to me. How is this a thing? How?
It's nuts, because I played The Last of Us 2 on my day of release PS4, which in fairness, had been recently cleaned.
Yes, we did hoover that bitch out.
We did, and it needed it. But smooth, satisfying, gorgeous. And for the record, it looked better than anything we saw. My TV's only 1080p.
Yeah.
Right? It played so smoothly, smoother than Halo. The combat was fulfilling and exciting. You know, like, that's the current generation running on 1.8 teraflops. And what we saw was what's supposed to be next generation running on, at minimum, an Xbox One S, right?
Yeah.
Or equivalent. And it looked garbage. And that's supposed to be going on something that's 4 times more powerful. Like, I'm sorry, it's not a good... We've harped on about this for a while, but it was really disappointing. And I've been saving... Sorry, bro, go on.
No, I was gonna say, this was the big point. Don't worry about harping on too much. This was their flagship, and they wanted us to talk about this the most. They just happened to show us something that was terrible, hoping that it was good. So we're gonna talk about it equally as well, just because it was that bad.
Yeah. It's man, I've said it so many times. I was really worried Xbox was gonna die out, that this would be the last generation, and that the reason that I was worried was not because I care about Xbox. It's because Sony has done so well with the competition that if it goes away, they can absolutely go the way of Game of Thrones Season 8, right? Anything can.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with Xbox for the last generation and the next generation. And I do worry, and I think it's kind of looking more confirmed, and this has been something I've said for over a year, this could be the last generation of Xbox. I don't see any reason to buy it. Not just because nothing in there caught my eye, really, but because I can actually, if I did want to play medium, I can play it on the GeForce Now. I don't need to buy a Series X to play it. Why would I then? You know?
Do you know what? There are people out there who do still like Xbox and did see stuff here that they really enjoyed, because there are some nice games. And
Dan was saying he was very happy with what he saw.
Yeah, he's a big Xbox Game Pass fan, which damn right you should be. As
Game Pass is a great service.
The best. We've said so many times. I can't fucking affirm that anymore. It's a great service. I wish we could get something like that on PlayStation. We don't, and that's why PlayStation is failing in that department.
Yeah.
And he saw a bunch of games that he's going to get to play because he's a Game Pass subscriber. And he was actually excited for it. And I can understand being in that spot where I'm like, okay, I have this service that I pay for. It's like paying for Netflix. And then Netflix going, guys, the next season of The Witcher's coming out. We've got this Marvel exclusive TV show. Falcon and the Winter Soldier's coming over here. So they're going to be nowhere else. If I was to hear that, I would be goddamn excited, as Dan is. And I love him for that. And he's the reason why... I get a lot of positive messages from Xbox that I definitely want to hear because of him. And I love that. Thank you so much, Dan. But this was supposed to be one of the events that's supposed to make me go, oh shit, do you know what? I want to buy an Xbox Series X for this thing I saw right here. I mean, and there was nothing there that showed me that I wanted to buy an Xbox Series X.
Forget about you. The people that are on Xbox and don't have to worry about their friends are going to go. Right? Are they going to go to the PlayStation? Are they going to stay on Xbox? They don't have to worry about that. They only want to play certain games that they want to play. And they don't play with friends or whatever.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be for them to say, yeah, dude, stick with Xbox. Look what's coming. Mm-hmm. And for those guys, I really feel that the majority of them have been so underserved. There are a couple of games that look interesting. A handful. I think Medium looks great, but it's not for me. Crossfire looks interesting. The Lord of the Rings thing was cool, and Fable.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are coming in anywhere from 2 to 5 years. This year alone, on this current gen, from Sony, we've had Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Last year we had. We know we've got Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes,
we know we've got Marvel's, not Marvel, so...
Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man. Why am I saying Marvel? Oh, I guess
it is a Marvel
product, Universe, yeah. But, we know coming up, that first time, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Horizon's 2021, right?
I think it is 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually put a date on it, but I'm assuming 2021.
But like, we have dates for these things, and we saw what the last ones look like, and we know how good they're going to be. So this was for the people to say, look, maybe it's not coming next year, but these are the reasons to stay on Xbox. And as far as I can see, it's only that they have this great Game Pass service, which Game Pass is great, and I can play it on a better device.
Yeah.
For cheaper, without having to fork out $500 or whatever it is for the console.
Do you remember that I was telling you that before this event happened, we was having our predictions of what Xbox need to do, etc. And I said this entire console generation rests on the shoulders of Halo.
Yep.
And it didn't do that well.
Dude, I said as well that Halo's not big enough. Halo's not big enough to carry the entire console. You know,
I had faith in good old Master Chef's legs and his, jump from a planet, land on the surface, and be totally fine. But I was like, he can do it. He can do it. Surely
he's not big enough.
He's not
on his own. And look, Forza's there as well, right? But Forza's only interesting to racing game players, right?
Yeah.
Like Forza isn't interesting to anyone else. Like us, we don't. It looks great. I don't give a frick. It's not what I play, right?
Yeah.
And I know that if I was a racing game player, and maybe there is a brand loyalty thing, but Gran Turismo's on the PlayStation. It's not like I can't get my fix of good-looking cars driving around a place, right? Like this isn't something that's particularly exclusive. You know, it's good-looking cars driving around tracks that really exist, or maybe that you make up. So, one of the reasons I said Halo couldn't do it on its own isn't because Halo isn't good enough. Like the original, if I knew that Halo's 1 through 3, if a fourth Halo was being made by Bungie and it was their fourth installment, I'd say that was big enough. But the fact is, I think 343 have made a total of 5 titles, or there's been 5 titles made after Bungie. I think Reach was good, ODST was good for what it was, but I thought I'd get a Spartan in it, so I didn't like that one particularly. It kind of soured the bunch for me.
Right.
I felt that 4 people have mixed feelings on, right? Some people think 4's great. I felt that it just underperformed a bit, yeah? 5, I think, is largely agreed to be shit.
I saw a tweet from Tyler saying, I hear Xbox have shown off Halo Infinite. Nothing can beat me more than Halo 5 did, or something like that. Like, nothing can beat me down further than Halo 5. And I was like, ooh, Halo 5 must have been bad then.
Right. It's largely agreed that it wasn't any good. And because there have been those stumbling blocks, which there weren't for Halos 1, 2, 3, it's kind of hit and miss. It's like for everybody after Bungie, it's about 50-50 on is it good or is it not, right? That's not, Halo's a masterpiece. Halo's 1 to 3 masterpiece, So those, that could hold a franchise on its own. But what we've had since, I don't think it can. And I said as well, look, Halo's going to need to be a banger, and we've got to see something maybe Fable. I also said, because they own Rare, which I didn't actually remember, but I said I think I knew they owned the IP, Banjo Kazooie. So if they had showed Halo looking strong, Fable coming, and Banjo, that would have been absolutely enough to keep them like afloat and to keep people that were on it, and to keep anyone that was on the fence or wasn't interested in games like The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. That would have been enough. That would have been, but they haven't done it, and they own Rare. And what did they go for? Some bullshit, random, whatever the frick. And we didn't even see much of that game. They went and spoke to somebody from the franchise.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah.
Like, what? You have an enormous thing. You have something that can get the retro gamers in, those older people who have a bit more disposable cash that are just going to go, yeah, fuck it, I'll get that, because I love Banjo as a kid. I loved Banjo back in the 90s or the early 2000s. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
It's insane to me. It's crazy.
I'm right there with you. And apparently, actually, so is at least the internet that sees my Twitter, which isn't a lot. But I put a couple of tweets out, some polls and whatnot, and I'll give you some preliminary numbers here. I said, now that we've seen the Xbox Games Showcase, what do you rate it? And I put down A, B, C, or D and below. We got 56% of people, of 90 people, said D or below. and the rest of it 25 at C, and 10% of people at B, and 7% of people will say an A there. And also I asked the question, which console would you buy now after seeing that showcase? And there was 9.3% of people said that they would buy an Xbox Series X, and 86.8% of people said they'd buy a PlayStation 5.
I just...
Pretty hard numbers to argue with there.
Like, I would be interested to know who wants to get both, right? And especially because I don't see the point. This generation and last generation, it made sense to maybe end up with both consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you need the console now? If you want to play the games, you don't need the console. That's a move they already made. You get Game Pass. And if you have a gaming rig, you play it on your gaming rig. And if you don't, you play it on NVIDIA GeForce Now or something similar, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe Stadia. Like, why do you need the console? They've gone out of their way to make it so that you don't need the console. So why would I migrate? Why wouldn't I buy the PS5 and get Game Pass and play the games I want and then cancel it like I do with Netflix when I'm bored?
That's the message that I got, and that's the message that I just can't shake. And it's so weird to me when I don't care if anyone wants to buy the Xbox, right? People want to buy whatever they want to buy. I don't expect anyone to tell me what I want to buy. And I don't expect anyone to tell me because I buy a lot of shit. I'm fucking my Secret Labs chair that I've had for 6 months. I'm trading it in for another one, and it is ridiculously expensive. I'm wasting so much money. So no one can tell me what to do, and I won't tell anyone what to do. Mm-hmm. But when the messaging is being said to me from the people that make the console, you don't need to buy this console. You really don't. You really don't. If you want to play these games, you can buy this subscription service on the side and cancel it whenever you feel like, or you can get it on the promotional deal for, I think it's like $1 right now for like 3 months or whatever it is.
It's a great introductory price.
Great introductory price, and you, God knows how you can make another email account, whatever. But I was like, if the people are telling me themselves you don't need to buy this product, then why in God's name would I do it? And that was the problem with this whole conference. I felt like that was the point of it, to tell me why I should buy an Xbox.
I agree.
And all they did was tell me I shouldn't.
And for the record, right, this us shitting on Xbox is not us shitting on, like, Dan, who I think he intends to buy both consoles.
He's very cool like that. He likes every game. He likes everything. The problem is that I don't have the time to use both consoles. He does, and he has the time to be a true gamer. The guy is so fucking cool. He plays every game.
It's something that he's passionate really about, and I like that.
And when you have everything and have Game Pass, you're like, oh, that's really cool. Then you can play.
Right, really exactly, cool. And that it's at the right price point, right? You're not having to pay the full retail for all the games and stuff. Yeah. My big issue is that I really worry that him and other guys like him are just going to be underserved by the Xbox. You know, that when they buy the Series X and Game Pass and all that stuff, yeah, they get a good price on the games, but are the games worth it? Are they worth the time when you come to then play like Ratchet and Clank and Horizon Forbidden West and God of War 5? You know, were you served as well for the content that could only be got by going first party with that group? Yeah. And the thing is that there is no first party now when it comes to Xbox, because you can get everything on the Game Pass.
Yeah.
So again, why do you need the console? And look, I get it, wanting to own stuff, right? Like, I have all my old PlayStations, and I don't intend to get rid of them. No. Because I liked, and I also don't intend to ever play them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's very strange. I should just sell them. It would do more good for me to sell them, but I like having them. It's a nostalgia thing, right? Yeah. It's like a collection of things that you collect, things that you maybe you're never going to use, but you want to own them. I just think, I just worry that, you know, you're going to spend, let's say that both consoles come out at the same price, right? And then gets his Xbox and his PlayStation. He plays through his Xbox. He's like, oh yeah, cool. I'm really glad I got this. Then he gets his PlayStation and plays like the first title and goes, oh shit, this is so much better. There's so much more story. You know?
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, and this was one title. And then he goes to the next, and then the next, and then the next, and looks at his Xbox and just thinks, well, you were a waste of money. Why didn't I just do the GeForce Now NVIDIA thing? Mm-hmm. You know, and get Game Pass for the month that it took me to play Halo, yeah, and then cancel it, and then re-up it when I want to play the medium. You know, that's so
Shit,
much cheaper.
I just realized there's another thing as well. The Xbox, just as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, the Xbox Game Pass and xCloud is being bundled into the same price. So you don't even need Nvidia GeForce now. You can just go straight to your computer and play off of xCloud right there.
Right, exactly. So it's basically the Netflix of gaming, which it's a brilliant service. I really don't think we can say enough about how good that service is, except that there isn't any other reason to, like it kills its own product, and I don't think they care. I kind of feel like they want to get out of making consoles. That's what it feels like to me. Because it feels like suicide. So
I think they completely recognize that Sony have the gamers, and this is, I'm quoting George here, long-eared fox. He said Sony have gamers by the balls when it comes to games and exclusive and stuff like that, because they produce the best. There's nowhere else to get them, and they kind of see that, but they can't say those words out loud. So they're just going, we're going to make the best possible game service as we can on the side, and hopefully we can put some of that money into our own studios to make people want to come over here and play on this service.
Yeah.
But the thing is that doesn't ever make people question wanting to buy the PlayStation, and that's, as a business competitor, that's got to be one of your main targets, one of your main things you want to do. God,
hold on a minute.
Go on.
I just saw a tweet because I was
Breaking
looking.
News?
Yeah. From like earlier this morning, I guess the actor that plays Huey on The Boys.
Oh,
just tweeted out, "Hey, guess what? # season 3."
Oh shit!
I guess it's confirmed, and we haven't even got season 2. But
The Boys season 3, ladies and gents.
So I know this is the True Gamer, but I wanted to say it because The Boys season 2 isn't even out yet, and I'm super hyped for it. But do you know why these seasons get paid off in advance? Because you make an incredible product.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay off anything for, Halo, because what you showed me freaking sucked.
Yeah.
I think you should still play Halos 1, 2, 3. And I feel like we're done beating this horse with Fable on the horizon. There's 1 HP left on this horse, Yeah. It has one last breath. But unless something big happens, it's not enough. Hopefully Halo comes out and it's amazing. And if it is, that's enough to keep that 1 HP there for Fable, to keep it ticking over. Those last beeps on the EKG.
Yeah.
Boop, boop. But if Halo freaking sucks and we don't get enough from Fable early on, it's going to flatline and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I really think so.
Guys, let us know in the both in the live chat and in the description, in the comment section, I should say. This is a meaty topic. We really do want to hear what you guys think. As well, if you're pro Halo or pro Xbox, if you felt like they did a good show, what you like to buy, things like that, it'd be very, very good to hear. All of you guys on podcast services as well, if you do want to talk to us, there's the Discord server that'll be in the show notes. And if you want to head over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Conbrosations, that's also in the show notes as well. We'd love to hear what you guys think.
That's one thing. Before we move on to the next topic, how did you feel about the pacing of the show? Because ultimately it was an event to drum up excitement and hype for the new console and the new games. How did you feel about the pacing of it overall as an event?
As a person who does editing, I felt like it was edited poorly.
I totally agree.
There was moments that it was like it moved on far too quickly, and the cut wasn't clear enough.
Yes.
There was like it did fade to black, but it wasn't like it was a fade to black and here's the next game. It was it's like, okay, so that's the end of that game, and world premiere, this is the next game. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Are we done with that one? We gone? Is this world premiere for this one or the last one? I'm not sure.
It's funny you said that, because I feel like they had a guy and they said, look, here's how you edit. You cut this and then the next one plays, right? And the first ones he did was world premiere, and so it's very obvious that the next game's starting, at least. Not necessarily obvious that the last game's finished, But the next one starts. It's like, world premiere, blah, blah, here's the ad. World premiere. Okay, it's the next game. And he just kept doing that, except not all of the ones had a world premiere leading up. But he was like, this is how I've been told to do it. So it would just fade to black, fade back in, and it's a new game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It did feel like a bit strange. I definitely feel like what I remember of the Sony event was way more like high energy and, I don't know, upbeat and fun.
There was another thing as well, like that definitely it was very more fast paced, very more fun paced, I should say. You got to understand and digest everything. They also had, on top of brand new games and brand new gameplay to show of these games, they also had the console to show at the end of it. Now, these guys said at the beginning, they were like, only going to talk about the games. Guys, it's the end of July. We are mere months away from this console dropping. You could have shown us the box that the console's going to come in. You could have dropped the price. You could have dropped some accessories. You could have dropped, I don't know, a different color if there is one. You could have shown us the Lockhart, and that would have been the topic of conversation. Yeah. But you showed us...
I'm glad they didn't.
I'm glad they didn't.
Another fucking kills, like stabbing themselves.
In the foot, right? It's like, fucking, let me just stab myself right there. But instead, you showed us a bunch of subpar games at their lowest and not their best foot forward, like we said about the Halo thing, showing a previous build, which was ridiculous. Because they had... Some people might say, oh, they only had that to hand. No, because then they had the trailer that was sent to you afterwards, right, Sheps? That was far better in quality. And I was like, God damn it. You had that. Why didn't you show that?
Yeah, because do you know what it was? I feel like they looked at what they had, what was of high quality, for not just for Halo, but for everything, and was like, this isn't long enough, and we need to hit a video length target that we've been given by other suits. Okay, get somebody to colorize this dude's storyboard. Okay, let's pull some... a longer bit of gameplay from Halo. Yeah, it's an old build, but everybody knows it's an early look. It will be fine. Yeah. No, it won't. You know?
Oh God. Yeah, so the pacing in my opinion was really far off, and they didn't have something at the end to at least distract from that, or something to be like, oh shit. The only takeaway we had was how poor Halo looked, and how we're not going to get any of these games anytime soon, and how the games that we might get soon, most of them, not all of them, most of them are just not enough to make me want to buy your console.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Cool. Let's move on though. I think because gaming is all about entertainment and fun, and I feel like people misjudge why we're shitting on Xbox, thinking that we're just shitting on Xbox. Really, it's because that is their job. It's to give us incredible stories and games that are fun to play, and to serve gamers and the gaming community. And I really feel like they aren't, and that's why I'm attacking them. It's not because I care about the console. I used to be an Xbox guy, you know, like really, really was, and I was underserved, and that's why I stopped.
Yeah,
you know?
See it more as a critique or a review of what was done, like we do review games and stuff like that. Don't see it as us hating Xbox. It's not that for us. The next topic. So, we're going to lightly talk about this. This did happen because we do the True Gamer podcast every 2 weeks, and we do the other podcast, the Conbrosations podcast in between. We did miss out the Ubisoft Forward event. That was, they showed off AC Valhalla gameplay, that was also a little bit underwhelming. There was a lot less Assassin's Creed in this Assassin's Creed game. How did you feel about that? Do you have any strong feelings towards it?
The Assassin's Creed stuff that I saw some of Ethan's footage after we did something with him, and then, you know, I think Walshy's used some of his footage as well for some of his videos. Yeah,
he stole some of his footage. He's one of those YouTubers.
He is. So, you know, these guys have played, you know, Fishy has played it, got hands on, said it's okay. But I have issues like, we said them when we were watching Spider-Man, you know, when he punches Flash.
Yeah.
Punches him 30 feet away, dude's dead.
Yeah.
You know, just caved in his chest. Like, if Ivar's kicking people 50 feet, it just feels strange when the rest of the game is pitched as this, like, bit more gritty, down-to-earth thing, you know?
Yeah, the only thing that they've got is, because it's Norse mythology, they're like, oh, there's magic from the gods. Cool, but these people are still people. Right. they're not anything to do with the magic and whatnot. And then when you see something unrealistic like that, don't get me wrong, it's a game, it's fucking fiction, everything's crap. We get it.
And I get that the assassins are kind of like a superhuman-y thing who super evolved, whatever. Like, okay, I'm down with that. I get it, but it's got to also fit with some form of reality, right?
Yeah, I actually said as well on the Ubisoft Forward event. So prior to that event, I was a little bit excited. I was optimistic. I said I liked that there was this was before the Ashraf email stuff that happened. There was Ashraf was on it, Darby McDevitt, and people that I follow and respect, people like James, Tyler, Ethan, all the guys in our community and stuff like that. They all said that they're great guys and great for the franchise. I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And then we saw Vikings are great setting. I love the Viking, the Norse mythology and stuff like that. And then we saw, what was it, the composers that came? Was it Jesper Kidd and stuff like that? Was that they seem to be lining up to make a good game here. But then we saw Ashraf turn out to be an arsehole. Then it turned out that there was the whole of Ubisoft just got hit with like an improprietary wave of complaints and stuff like that. And I was like, ooh, that doesn't speak well for the company. And then we saw that gameplay that wasn't really very Assassin's Creed. I was like, and then we saw the release date, fucking the 17th of November, right up against Cyberpunk. And I was like,
yep,
I'm not going to play this game. I don't think I'm not going to play it because of Cyberpunk, but also now I'm just not sold on this game. I think maybe I'll play it down the line as like a funny let's play, as like, oh guys, do you remember this? Let's play this game again. But other than that, I don't think I'll play it.
I mean, one of the things about Assassin's Creed is the parkour, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that, and this was a concern that I had and had voiced earlier, which was that if you're in medieval England, you've only really got the odd few castles, which actually I think the castles aren't that big at this point. Like real castles and stuff coming around the year 12 or 1300, right? This is like Alfred's 850 or something. So you've got the odd fort and some fucking mud huts and trees, and that's it. Like
that little clip we saw of the parkour, didn't that seem the most pathetic parkour you'd ever seen?
It really did. So the combat feels unusual, and
I feel like we're really negative this episode.
well, it's just that, you know, these are major titles, and at least it's a creative thing. Like, no huge game has done the Norse mythology thing recently, right? So okay, we've at least got that originality. We haven't seen Thor in movies in recent years. We haven't seen, say, like, I don't know, a giant first party game spanning about 40 hours in an open world adventure set all in this. You know, has a bad coffee got there? Like, so okay. And the things that it's known for, right? Social stealth's back, cool. Except you're a Viking in England, wearing a bear fur. Like, you do still kind of, at least maybe if like they did a thing where the only way to do that was you would have to like pull a cloak out of your backpack and put it over the fur or something. But this 6'3" blonde Viking with braided beard or braided blonde hair, wearing a bear fur in the middle of an English camp that knows Vikings are invading, I think she sticks out, right? The hidden blades back, that's cool, I guess, that because it's Assassin's Creed, but like the parkour, which even I consider to be a huge part of Assassin's Creed, isn't here. What, I don't know, it just feels like everyone's missing the mark.
And then there was the stupid romance options controversy. So Ubisoft have this, and a lot of other companies and whatnot, they have this really weird mindset where they go, if we let you have, when it comes to romance options, if we let you have sex and have romance options with any gender you want, we're inclusive, right? That means we've got a golden star. We can put that on our fridge, right? Right, guys? But really that just means, and guys, you need to really think about this, that just means that they're lazy. Because if you take the time to specifically program in, okay, say Ivor can have sex with anyone because he has a sexual preference to want to be with guys or whatever. Let's say you do that. That doesn't mean that every other NPC in the world has those preferences. That person might like guys. That guy might like girls. That guy might like both of them. That guy might like only goats to fuck. So you programming in those things and going, hey, like an Ivor going up to that person to try and romance them to get, I don't know, a quest item or something like that. and them rejecting you shows that you've thought about it. You've programmed a certain branch, and you've locked people out of something because they're not the female version, and that influences them to want to play the game again in a different style.
Absolutely.
That's ingenious. You saying to pay anyone is you being lazy.
Like, when you go to that merchant as female Ivor and he's not a romance option, or he turns you down because you're not a dude, because he is in fact gay.
Yeah.
That shows thought. What in fact they've done is just keep the NPC lines the exact same and changed which Ivor is saying the lines, which actor or actress is saying the lines.
And just steer away from pronouns. It's just like, oh, you turn me on, as opposed to you turn me on because I love your breast, or I love your dick, or
beard,
something
or whatever,
like that.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing like that. Just stay away from anything that would be identifying.
It is lazy. And the reality is that the experiences should be different. There should be a chick that you can only romance as female Ivor, and there should be a guy you can only romance as male Ivor, right? And yeah, there should be the major characters. And if it's, this one princess, then maybe you can't romance her as a chick. And if it's this one prince, maybe you can't romance him as the male Ivor. And that's fine, and that makes the play experience different. And that makes the endings, or, maybe not the ending of the game, but you know how The Witcher did it, where you had the cutscene and then you had the cartoony, not cartoony, but those comic stills telling you how your decisions had affected things. Maybe that affects that, and you get to see the differences, and then it was worth playing.
Yeah.
Both genders, right? Let's say you're female Ivor, right? And you end it and you romance the dude. Well, the ending should show female Ivor with like a kid, for example, right? And what a mother does with their kid is going to be different to what a father does with their kid. I want to see, and it should be different. It shouldn't just be the same image, but they've edited one out on an iPad to be a chick holding a kid versus a dude holding a kid. They should look different, and then I should be like, yeah, that was right. I'm glad I played as female Ivor, and then, oh, cool. I'm glad I played through it again as male Ivor because this was different. But there isn't any of that because they're lazy, because they don't care.
Exactly. And that's one of the other things that I see, and I'm just like, God, I'm not excited for this game.
They phoned in the romance. They phoned in the parkour. They phoned in the hidden blade and the social stealth, because the social stealth should be a little bit more difficult. You literally stick out. You aren't an Italian in Italy, right? Yeah. You stand out. So
maybe
how
you
are you
going
to
do a costume change or something like that when you go into a town or something like that?
Like I said, maybe it's just an animation. Maybe you flip the fur inside out, so that on one side it's like a cotton cloak, and on the other side it's the bear fur, depending on who you're like. It's not too difficult.
I think you just solved it. That would have been fucking great.
Yeah, it's not too difficult to figure this stuff out. Literally, you just, as you stand up, you flip your cloak around, and now you've got like a red cloak on your back instead of a black bear skin. Done.
Jesus, that would.
And suddenly social stealth makes sense again, right?
Yeah.
Is it just me?
No, you fucking nailed it, mate. You fucking nailed it right there.
And this, we are some dude on the internet with a laptop and a mic, each one of us, right? And here we are. We figured out a couple of these things. Like, why do they have nobody in these meetings that says, okay, we're going to bring back social stealth? Excuse me, both of them are over 6 foot, blonde with braids, in the middle of a Viking encampment, and they wear Viking armor and weapons and furs. So they're just going to blend in, yeah? As a 6'3" blonde chick is just going to blend in around. Oh, okay, cool. No one. Yeah,
I get the feeling that working at Ubisoft is actually a really, really terrible place. I mean, we know that from all the the improprietary stuff as well, but I think that's also had a knock-on effect that everybody just feels physically drained all the time working around arseholes, and also with people that just don't have any creativity and people that just can't think more than 5 seconds ahead of them. There was the thing that recently came out as well, and this was all based on what people said, and we don't know how true it is, but it could fit with everything else that's been going on. Apparently, there were some developers that said that they wanted to make a female assassin in certain games in the franchise, but the higher up said, no, females don't sell. We need a male to be on the front of these games. And I loved seeing that, because do you know what that means? You know all of those those stories that come out from the journalists that like to make stories out of nothing, or to make gamers look terrible and stuff like that, who say that gamers hate women and they can't stand a powerful woman. They just anytime they see a woman, they just get immediately sexist. It's not us. It's those motherfuckers over there. We just want a good character. We just want them to make a great character. It doesn't matter what gender they are, and then we're happy.
There are two sides to this coin, right? There is some grey. One, it seems weird that, because what I had read, at least the article I'd seen, was that the higher ups pressured game developers to they pressured the devs to put more emphasis on the male character, right? Which is a very unusual way to report it, because, and I do believe this is true, that in general male lead characters sell better,
They
generally
probably will.
speaking. And games with male leads that seem to do better. Fine. You can just make a business decision and say the male character is the lead. Done. That you don't need to pressure game devs
Yeah.
to make, that's a very unusual way to report this. So either there is something weird going on here, or the reporters are reporting bullshit. But
Reporters could do that as well.
and they absolutely do, right?
Yeah.
But there is no need for pressure here. The higher ups give orders. That's how this works. If you're managers, you manage your team, and you say the priority is the female or male lead. There's no pressure. That is the priority. That is your job. So it's bizarre.
Yeah. There is one other side to this as well, is that I was going to say, actually, do you know what, The Last of Us, right? We both agree that that's a great game. We do love Ellie and whatnot. She's a fantastic character.
Yeah.
And the reason why no one has a problem with Ellie, except for obviously there's always a handful of people in every conversation that's complete arseholes and whatnot. But the reason why we don't have a problem with Ellie as gamers, as big game fans, is because she's badass. Because she's a great character. She's written well. She speaks realistically. She has realistic goals and ideas and actions. We love her because she's written well.
Yeah.
If
That's
you guys
why I hate Aloy, by the way. So
Yeah.
Aloy is a huge lead in a huge game, and I don't like that game because I feel like Aloy's pretty weak and blah blah. I don't care that it's a chick. I care that she's weak. I have no problem with Ellie because they just made an incredible character, and she makes good decisions, and like it fits. Like she doesn't one hit punch these giant Scar warriors, right?
Yeah.
That's not how that works. So it fits. It's realistic, and she's written well. Make an incredible character. No one cares what's between their legs. No one cares.
Exactly. Well put there. And I feel like the reason when they say like the higher ups pressured them into making a male character instead of a female, or making them both and putting the more emphasis on the male one, I'm like, is that because you don't have confidence in your team to make a good female character? Is that what that is? That's just one thought right there.
That's
just something I wanted to bring up. That's all.
That was my beef with Abby and her physicality, right? And I said this in the review, which was that I feel that they went with her looking that way to make her seem more obviously threatening, because they weren't convinced that they had written a great antagonist or villain or whatever she's supposed to be, which I disagree with. I think Abby is a pretty good antagonist or villain or whatever, and that actually her physicality draws you away from the fact that she is this good. Like, if you're not convinced, then you just do those things. But again, if you're a games company, you don't have to pressure developers to put more emphasis on them. You tell them. That's literally your job. You make the decision. You say the male or the female character is the canon or the lead. That's the one that gets the most attention. There's no pressuring. There's no, are you doing it? It's an order. Do this. Make female Ivar our main person, or make male Ivar our main person. It's not a request. You're paying the bills. You're commissioning the game. You make it's an order. You don't request an order at a restaurant. You tell them what you want and the way you want it. You don't request a steak if it will come, and they give you a fish salad and you're like, that's fine. No, you ask for a steak. You ask it for the way you want. You say, I want this. I want it cut this way. I want this side with this drink. Because you're paying for a product, right? Yeah. That's what happens, and that's what making a game is. There's no need to pressure your waitress to make sure she brings you the right drink. You tell her what drink you want. She brings it to you because that is the nature of the interaction. The managers tell the developers, you're putting more emphasis on the male or female. What's the deal with this pressure? It's so strange.
It is strange. It really is. There is only one other game really that I wanted to mention from the Ubisoft event, and that was Far Cry 6 with what do you know the guy's name? I keep forgetting his name. Something Despacito or whatever it is.
Giancarlo something, I forget. The guy that played
Giancarlo
Gus.
Despacito. Yes, the guy that played Gus from Breaking Bad.
Who's so good.
So great, and I love the vibe I'm getting from it. It was only just a CG trailer of Gus and this kid that I don't know if you noticed in the artwork.
The scar.
You know the Far Cry. Oh yeah, he's got a scar, but there's one other thing as well. If you can Google it, the Far Cry 6 picture or poster art or whatever it is or something like that, above that kid's head is the red collar of Gus, and it looks like devil horns. I was like, woo, that seems interesting. Bit of foreshadowing there. Anyway, it looks great. I love the whole Cuban vibe. I love the whole Cuban warlord just controlling a bunch of riots and stuff like that. It looked fantastic. I can't wait to play that. We don't know anything else really about it. It did look really good.
That looks really good.
Excited.
I do want to say, is it Giancarlo Despacito? Something like that. He's so talented, and not just in Breaking Bad. So I like some of these trash TV shows. I've spoken about Terra Nova, the terrible. Go back to like the Jurassic Park thing, but it's terrible but also good.
Yeah.
He's in a show that's very similar to that called Resistance. I think, is it called Resistance? Let me Google it. Is it Resistance? Where basically it's not Resistance. I'm gonna IMDb him. IMDb Giancarlo. Yeah, it's Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito.
Nah, bro, it's Despacito. We've got Ashraf Email's name wrong. We're getting this name wrong now. This is the new one.
It. So it's called. Oh my god, where is it? Because the show's garbage, but I really deeply enjoyed it. I found it so compelling and fun, despite knowing it was bad and in a lot of cases very poorly acted. It's called. Where is it? Revolution. Okay, it's called Revolution. The premise is that it's post-apocalyptic, right? Electricity just stops working. Like not even lightning strikes the ground.
Oh shit! Okay.
Right, and so like the world breaks down, and it picks up some years after it. And you learn this pretty much straight away. There's one guy teaching kids in a classroom, and he's saying like, if it had just been electricity, like the grid had gone down, we'd have got it back, right? But the laws of physics changed. Right, yeah, it's not that big a deal. It would have sucked, it would have been really bad, but everything would have come back. And so he even says, like, I guess the laws of physics changed and we don't know what caused it. And he plays a villain in that, and he's so good, and the show's so bad, but I really enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that little pitch right there, that little 30-second pitch, got me kind of hooked. The laws of physics change. I'm like, ooh.
And I think you do find out. I think there's 2 seasons. Right. You do find out what caused it. I'm not going to tell you. I recommend you. There is only. I'm not going to tell you. If you watch it, you'll clock the issue. But again,
it was just a little hamster in a wheel that fell asleep. That's what it was, right? They can't generate electricity anymore. That's it, guys. We found it.
For the record, I'm not telling you to watch this instead of The Boys, right? Or Breaking Bad, which are much better shows. But if you want some trashy shows, Terra Nova and Revolution, really good, but like in a not so bad they're good kind of way. They're bad, but also good. Like, I think you'd enjoy Revolution. It's kind of quirky and fun. The main character's not the greatest actress, but she's also not too bad. Like, you feel like maybe she's actually fairly good at being directed poorly. It's weird. It's so weird, but it has kind of like a Last of Us feel to it, like with the post-apocalyptic thing. And I don't know, man. It's just fun. But he's in it, and I think he's a villain. And he actually has kind of a Breaking Bad thing. The first time you see him prior to like the fall or whatever, he's like this middle America, wouldn't say boo to a goose kind of guy. And then everything breaks down and he ends up having to do what he needs to do to survive, and ends up as just like badass fucking It's cool. It's so good. He's so good, and the show's so bad, but he's so good. Anyway.
All right, guys, everyone go check out Revolution and then come back and tell Sheps, why did you make me watch that? Why did you make me watch that? Because he did force you to watch that.
I did. I literally.
Yeah. We've got 2 topics to blast through, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Ghost of Tsushima, just our general impressions on that.
Cool.
The PS5. So, PlayStation apparently have increased production of their PlayStation 5 console for this holiday. They've increased their demand they've increased due to high demand. I don't know what demand they've got so far because they haven't put the pre-orders up yet. So,
yeah.
I guess they just went into a room. They were like, hey, you guys like the PS5? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, all right. We'll make some more.
Yeah.
They've increased it from 6 million to 10 million. So we should get enough consoles for everybody this holiday. That's good news right there. And also, a PlayStation 5 demo stand has appeared in the UK in a Curry's. I want to find out where the fuck this Curry's is so I can go and check it out. But yeah, so that must mean that we're gonna get to see this console.
So not
in
a Sony
stores
store,
soon.
but a
Curry's.
Curry's.
No. They're in a Curry's.
Yeah.
But that must mean that we're gonna be able to get to play PlayStation 5 in a store somewhere soon, right?
Yes, I hope so. Do you remember back in the day?
COVID permitting.
Do you remember back in the day where there were like little mom and pop type gaming shops, and you could go in and they would have like a PlayStation and Xbox hooked up with like maybe Tekken or something on there, and like you go in, everybody would like hang out there, and maybe some people would buy a game or something. And
I was gonna say there's kids playing like constant rounds of FIFA, and no one's buying anything. And then one person comes in and buys something in the background. That was about it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, it'll be that, but a Curry somewhere.
Yeah. And the other thing was that Geoff Keighley did a DualSense controller hands-on stream, and it was weird. It was strange because it's showing us something that we have to get our hands on to understand. And it's like, you know, back in the day when you used to watch unboxing videos from like lower down YouTube videos where it was like, hey, I'm going to show you the control freaks for these for the PlayStation 3 controller, and he pulls it out of the package. He was like, yeah, it feels good. And that was the review of the control freaks right there.
I'm going to be honest with you. For all of the YouTube rabbit holes I've been down, all of the things that I do enjoy, and you know there's some weird shit that I do like unironically enjoy and consume a lot of as content, especially because I don't sleep. Yeah. Dude, worse than that, right? At least you can actually. Someone goes, okay, cool, it's pornography, right? You could see that. No joke. The other night I watched probably an hour's worth of this dude comparing different brands of things like drywall screws and like circular saw blades and stuff. So like, you know, what's the like? How many cuts did he get before it was dull? And oh no, he did blades on grass trimmers.
So let me get this straight. We are 2 dudes who run an extremely successful YouTube channel going out to millions and millions of people every day.
True.
We come up
that
with
needs to be our intro. By the way, that's the first thing. Yeah.
Millions of people every day. We talk about gaming news. We do a little bit of like funny stuff on the side. We watch movies. We watch anime.
Yeah.
We talk with our fans. We create a good community and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then on the side of all of that, you're diverting energy and time into watching different brands of circular saw blades
being tested. Correct. Yes.
Right.
But I never got into the unboxing thing. It doesn't do it for me at all, because I saw one video like that and the guy was like, oh, here are the fucking controller freaks. Yeah, they feel good. This is what they look like, and they feel, it's good. I'm like, okay, never watching these again.
Anyway, that's what Geoff Keighley did, and it was interesting to basically see that the Astrobot game is going to be coming with every PlayStation 5. That's going to probably show off basically the controller can do and whatnot. It's not going to be too big of a game, but it'll be something so you can see, oh, this is what the haptic trigger feels like, this is what this could do, this is what that could do, stuff like that. I do
remember this. Yeah, we watched it, didn't we? It was bizarre, wasn't it? Because it was like...
It was a bit bizarre.
Like, he was holed up like, oh, yeah, you can hear it through the controller, like...
Yeah, and he puts it near to his microphone, and I swear to God he had like an air conditioning unit on in the background, because there was a weird noise gating that he had.
Mate, could you imagine?
He tried to run a filter.
Could you imagine someone making a video with aircon running in the background?
Mate, that's...
What a dickhead.
unprofessional as fuck right there.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers right there. Oh, he probably does his videos out of his spare bedroom as well. What a fucking unprofessional cunt.
Right.
The only thing that I picked out that was really quite interesting, he directly asked the marketing manager for Sony
Yes.
if there was going to be other colors of the DualSense controller.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy got all squeamish and he said, right now we're talking about this controller and whatnot.
Yeah,
so that's basically confirmed right there.
Yeah.
That's what that is right there.
It shouldn't be a shock to anyone that there will be like at least special editions, right? How many different colors forget what other people have put out, like that you can get custom paint jobs or wraps or whatever. How many different PlayStation 4s have come out, or PlayStation 4 Pros, right? They did the white, they did the...
Probably over 10. There's probably over 10, yeah.
So we know there will be other things, so that's not a big deal. What I suspect is, like, because the normal answer to that would be, look, we've done it with the PlayStation 4, we did it for the special milestones. I'm not saying we will, but I would expect that we'll be doing something similar when we hit big milestones or for stuff, right? But I don't have the details. Cool, that's a real answer, and it's kind of I don't have an answer, but I wouldn't be shocked to find one coming. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he didn't answer and squirmed suggests to me that like sometime next year, or like 6 months in, they'll release a white version or whatever. Wait, what color is it coming out?
Wait,
a black
it's white
version.
already.
I mean, a black version. I'm looking at my PS4 is what it was.
Yeah.
Like they'll do a black version with maybe the red light, which would look sick. You know?
Oh god, that would look so good.
I mean, I'm telling you, dude, if they do a PlayStation 1 grey,
ooh,
I'm so freaking down.
Oh god, I'm gonna be spunking so much money on special editions. I do that already. God damn it.
You do.
Oh god.
You're spending money on a Cyberpunk chair, and you already have the same chair.
It's literally just the skin on it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, that's so terrible. I'm an arsehole. Just feel free to let me know in the chat, guys. Feel free to let me know in the chat. Alright, so that's all the topics that we had planned for this. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was our initial Ghost of Tsushima impressions, spoiler free, just to get it out there. This is the first week that it's been out, and we'll probably do a spoiler cast further down the road or something just like we did for The Last of Us. How are you enjoying this game, good sir?
It is, despite what I've seen on my Twitter of all these incredible like PS shares and like stills and stuff, and what Dylan and all those guys are posting in the show and tell.
Katie have come out of nowhere and suddenly she's the best photo mode creator ever. How the fuck did that happen?
Which reminds me, I need to tweet her and tell her to put that stuff in the show and tell room, because a lot of people don't follow her on Twitter, and she should be putting that in our show and tell room.
We could give her so much more exposure. Millions of people, as we just said.
Literally. Despite seeing all of that, every time I play this game, again, on my day one PS4 on my 1080p screen, I am blown away with how good this game looks.
Exactly.
It's stunning.
Just great.
It plays so smoothly as well. Like, the combat is really fun. I've been having a lot of fun. I'm on medium. I may push the difficulty up for those, like the mythic, the big fights where you do the standoff, like the real cinematic standoffs.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I beat them within like 3 to 5 attempts normally. You've got to figure out the timing and stuff, right? And then, the dude murks me, and then you get it.
Yeah.
And they are fun, but I feel like I'm getting them a little bit too quickly. And I feel like maybe if it was taking me 10 attempts to beat it, get really close, and then it kills you, and then this time you got him, get that satisfaction.
Yeah, that satisfaction of knocking that motherfucker out.
Right, exactly. Like your like grounded type stuff, that's no fun to me. But the boss fights, if you get it within about 10 attempts and it takes you the span of like 20 to 30 minutes, that I'm cool with, So I may do that. But the combat's so fluid. I'm enjoying the different possibilities that I'm thinking, like the next time I play the game, how I'll spec differently. Like this time I've gone full, all my points pretty much have gone into the ghost section, I think I have one thing in the different stances. It's like the water stance or something to deal with shields. And other than that, like, damn, it's good. It's good. I need to spend more time playing the actual story, because I'm playing.
I was just gonna ask you, how much of the story have you played?
I just started Act 2.
I just started Act 2 as well.
Yeah.
I've had it for since Thursday, so like the day before release. Been playing it non-stop, and I'm still just getting into Act 2.
There is
Those
one
fucking
problem.
foxes and birds and
my
fucking
days.
everything. They're so distracting, and I'm just like, God.
Even the bamboo slashers, like,
Yes!
they're fun to do. Do you know the worst thing is I start Act 2 and then my map opens up and says, oh, the Khan has sent raiding parties down to the Act 1 area. And I'm like, I open it up and I'm like, oh shit, there is some cloudy, some fog of war around there. If I defeat the thing and I open it up and I can see what I'm missing.
I need to go back.
but I want to do it because in games like this, so like say Mass Effect and The Witcher and stuff, the more you do to like defeat the enemy, the better you have a chance of winning and the more people come to help you near the end, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't experienced Act 2 yet. And I want to, but I also want to go and beat these camps,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I will. I think I'll mix and match it. I think I'm going to go and defeat like 2 or 3 out of the 6, and then go and do some of the main missions and meet these new characters and recruit them and do their missions and stuff.
I guarantee you will try to go there and then get lost because you follow a fox or
Bro,
something like that.
Fun fact, and we did mention Eat Sleep Game Repeat, my Ghost of Tsushima channel.
Yeah.
My last video, that is exactly what happened, but not on purpose. I literally, the way I was running towards this thing, you could go left or right, and it's not a big left or right, at a rock, and there were blue flowers that I was following, and I went right, did this entire, really actually quite fun and fulfilling parkour section to get to the island I was trying to get to with this rope bridge. Totally the wrong place, just a shrine. Had to like descend it, go back, go down to the left of this thing, found the right island. Oh god, it was really frustrating. It was fun to play, it was actually a satisfying free run section, I guess.
Yeah.
But it takes a fair bit of time because it's quite long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes to play through, to then realize you're in the wrong freaking place. And it's literally like 2 feet to the left. Where I went right, 2 feet to the left, and I was on the right track. God damn.
I love this game for this. I really do. So I'm playing it in the highest difficulty, and crucially, I haven't switched back from starting it in Japanese with English subtitles. And I think it actually adds so much more to the immersion. I'm not going to tell anyone to play it in that way. That's up to them if they want to choose to play it that way. But something about it, the way that because this whole game, I'm not going to talk about actual story beats, but the whole game throughout the story, they're talking about honor, the honor of the samurai, the honoring your family, honoring this person, and being true to the Japanese roots and stuff like that. And it somehow carries more weight with me when I hear it in Japanese as well. I'm like, ooh, it's so great, and it's making the story so much more deep and impactful for me. That's what it's doing.
I want to do that, and because I watch a ton of anime, it's no real problem for me. But because I am making YouTube videos, I chose to put it in English.
Yeah, for you, it's probably. I would advise for you to do it in English for the videos. Anyway.
My one critique is that I can't seem to, and maybe it is an option. I looked for a second and didn't see it. I want to be able to turn it to Kurosawa mode for the boss fights, where I can, as it starts, just before it starts, I want to be able to pause, change the setting, Kurosawa mode, run it again.
I wonder. I think you can change it on the fly, but it's not something that does automatically.
Yeah,
so maybe. You have to do it yourself. You have to actually go into my options, go and then do it.
I looked briefly just to see if I could do it and couldn't see it, but it probably is there. Let me ask though, because for Anime Club timed pretty much perfectly. Actually, we recorded it perfectly, but it had to release because we have a schedule for it. We recorded it maybe the day before Ghost dropped.
Exactly.
But the video came out on the weekend after, or like 3 days after. How do you like it, having seen Samurai Champloo now just before it? Things, and how did you feel about watching Samurai Champloo leading up to it, knowing you were going into a samurai game?
I think it definitely helped. I think it definitely got me into the mood and the sort of the vibe of it and stuff like that. There is a difference. So, for example, I don't like watching anime in Japanese, and I don't watch a lot of anime, so this is all new to me, and I'm discovering it all for the first time. So I don't know what the reason is. I have an idea that maybe the reason is because like anime isn't real, so they do a lot of exaggerated sounds and noises and voices and stuff like that. Whereas this is real life, supposed to be real life anyway. Like it's a person and they speak Japanese the way that Japanese people would speak. Maybe that's the difference. But the whole samurai feel to it and the whole like, because obviously it's the same sort of era and stuff like that. It definitely got me more in the mood to play this game. And
Cool.
Whatever we did before, it helped because I'm really invested in this game. I'm loving every share that I see on Twitter. I'm loving every moment of the gameplay. I'm loving every interaction with all the characters. So it could only have been a positive effect. It could only have been a positive effect.
I am hoping that having spent the next like 40 or 50 hours of your gaming playing in Japanese, that going to anime in Japanese, which is how I recommend you watch MHA, for example, will be. Not that you can't watch it and read with subtitles, but because you're used to it, it'll be less jerky.
Yeah.
I will say, look, it's kind of an anime trope to be a bit more screamy and shouty, you know? One, that's kind of a Japanese thing in general. Like if we watch, I don't think we will, but if we were to watch any old Kurosawa movies, some of the characters do that. They do shout and scream in that regard. But not nowhere near as bad as in anime. Yeah. But I do hope you'll be like, oh yeah, because I've just played 50 hours of Ghost of Tsushima, watching it in Japanese, it's not that big of a jump, right? Having just watched Samurai Champloo in English, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe I'll try it. Because I mean, I will have just done it for Ghost, so maybe it will just snap and be natural to me. Maybe it will be.
Yeah, buddy. That reminds me, by the way, everybody, Anime Club for 2 or 3 weeks from now is season 3 of MHA. It's 25 or 26 episodes, and we should actually get started on it because otherwise we're going to spend 50 to 100 hours playing Ghost of Tsushima and then get to 2 days before and have to bang out 25 episodes. So maybe we should do like, maybe try and get a couple episodes in here and there so that it's only 10 episodes 2 days before,
I'm not gonna lie, I am guilty of that. I always, not intentionally, like my life is busy and we're fucking adults, so we do shit and whatnot. Yeah. But I always get down to like, fuck, it's 4 days away, and on one of the days I've got to do something incredibly important that I can't watch any anime. God damn it, I've got no time.
Yeah, preaching to the choir, and I know it's coming, and I want to watch the anime. It's not something I have to fit in. It's something I want to do, and I still leave it to the day before. But I did that with my dissertation at uni.
Yeah,
I'm just that guy.
It's just the way it's done.
Right.
So yeah, to sum up my thoughts and whatnot, I'm really, really loving the game. I do actually like all the distractions and whatnot, and how beautifully alluring it is to follow this fox and then to go over there and to pet him afterwards because he's done a good job. And then you go off and like you find a Mongolian fort, and you're like, I'm gonna take this motherfucking fort down. And
do you do the extra things where it's like
when
kill
it comes
5
down,
guys without being noticed or something?
100%. I cannot do nothing else. I'm gonna platinum this game as well, and I've set it up in a way that I can platinum it. I think I just need to do some cleanup after the game is done, and that's it.
By the way, for these forts, right? The first time I was like, I'll observe the leader. Frick that, I want to kill this guy. I freaking love that you can get 2 points for observing him, then killing him.
Yes.
And opening, like getting to the moon stance so much quicker. So once I realized you got one for observing and killing him, I went and did all of them and got moon stance like early in Act 1.
Yeah, boy. I really like this game so far, and all of those, as you said about the combat as well. The samurai combat is just so cool with all the katanas and stuff like that. The epic showdown sort of slow down moves where you like slice through someone, slice through a second guy and then the third guy, and when you kill a leader, it slows down time and it's like leader killed, extra point right there.
Another thing is
so great, so great.
People were saying, oh, well, you can just abuse like the standoff mechanic. No, if you mess it up, which by the way, I still have the prompts set. I need to turn that off because I feel like that would be more challenging. If you mess up when you attack, you take a serious amount of damage.
Yeah, it's straight down to like 1 HP. It's like, it gives you the thing where it says like press down to heal. Yeah. If you fuck that up, it's like, whoa, shit, this guy almost killed me right here.
And that's kind of the point. We were talking during the Samurai Champloo thing of like expert swordsmen were considered expert after winning 3 to 5 duels, right? Because in the sword fight, you are on the razor's edge, and if you don't get it right, that means you got it wrong. And all the other guy has to do is also not get it wrong. He doesn't even have to get it right because you got it wrong. And suddenly you are out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I will say that my big thing is I have put everything I can into stuff that gives me my health back.
Smart.
Which actually I have a video coming out once I remember to record. I need to get some footage showing it in some combat.
Right.
Of a really, really potentially even game-breaking charm that you can get very, very early on in the game, which I found getting lost. Which the place that I mentioned actually where it went the wrong way, which allows you to heal up like a lot of health out of combat pretty quickly, which is good for not just when you're like if you finish a fight and you're low on health, you don't have to use up your resilience. But also you can run away, re-stealth, wait a second, and be back at full health.
Damn.
I will put that out, and I recommend you run and grab it because it's the first thing I'm gonna do when I play it for the second time. I'm gonna go and get this. Yeah, I'm going there to get this broken charm so that I can just take it relatively easy.
Yeah, nah, for you, man. That's a good tip. That is a good tip. Get that out there so people know about that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I will.
There's only one other thing I want to mention about this. Then we can read some comments. A lot of people wrote in about Ghost and stuff like that. The performance of this game. I haven't had a single hitch, and the time it takes for you to die and come back in or fast travel anywhere
oh my God. Fast
is
travel,
insane.
Fast travel's actually fast.
Fast.
How is this running on? Forget this generation. How is this running on my PlayStation 4?
Right.
It's my base level PlayStation 4. It takes maybe 5 seconds to fast travel somewhere. I don't even get a chance when when the tips come up. Normally I don't read those tips, and then sometimes I'll see one and the picture is interesting. I'm like, oh cool, I wonder what the tip. Fuck, I loaded in.
Yep.
It's insanely quick. How is this running on a PlayStation 4? Looking this good, like you load in that fast. It's insane. The optimization we have for it, and that's this generation, bro.
Cyberpunk. Sucker Punch have done an amazing thing with this. They're literal wizards over there.
They are. And how big is the game? It's like it's under 100, right?
I think something like 75.
So like the optimization to get that much performance out of this hardware. I mean, whatever they have done, it's crazy. It's so impressive.
It's 50 gigabytes. Only 50 gigabytes. Jesus Christ.
How big is Odyssey, and what's the fast travel time on that?
Odyssey, I know on PC it's terribly optimized, but let me look. Assassin's Creed.
And the reason I mention Assassin's Creed isn't just to shit on Assassin's Creed, but AC Valhalla is coming out soon, right? And this is basically, people had compared it prior to this as an basically an Assassin's Creed set in Japan, which the fans had been asking for a very long time, right? Well, It's got parkour, it's got this the grappling hook, it's got great stealth and assassination things. You can do the upfront combat. Like, it's also 50 gigabytes. It loads in insanely quickly. So what's AC Valhalla they're gonna get spoken about, right? I know they're different IPs and they're different settings, but they're gonna get compared.
Yeah.
And personally, not just because I love the era and where things are set, but I think Ghost is gonna beat Valhalla. Not for like the story type stuff, although I do think it will, but for things like how smooth the game is and how satisfying it is to play. You know?
Yeah.
It definitely looks like it's got more fun parkour and stuff, you know? So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I also want to see how big Valhalla is and how long it takes to fast travel, because that would be genuinely interesting to me to see how well these games are optimized by these big companies, you know?
Yeah, because that's a thing that could be quite worrying, because it's that next generation leap where they want to try and put both their games on both generations. That they could put these amazing new vistas and these amazing new features and stuff like that, and then try to make them work into the previous gen, but the previous gen might not be able to handle it at all. So then it's just like these insane loading times, insane fast travel times, and and that might be a byproduct of the time. Yeah.
I want to see Ghost on the PS5.
Yes, we need like a next gen update or something
Yeah,
like that.
the
right?
ray tracing, like you fast travel. Like if fast travel so fast, if your cursor's over a place too long, you just go there.
It preemptively, it's like you're just going here. You're going here now. Also, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Yeah, the game looks so stunning. Could you imagine that in ray tracing?
Mate,
could you imagine that?
It's so good looking. I think what are the issues I've had? I've had a few weird things like with the foxes, like one sat down in a rock.
There is some like clipping in the ground sometimes.
Yeah, there's some clipping in the ground. There's some clipping with different materials. Like I saw one through one of his armor plate things on his shoulder and stuff like that. But other than that, like, and you can forgive some of that stuff, right? Like, it's just ultimately a game. Like, we don't expect it to be perfect. It would be good. Like, I think someone showed a little video that they took where Jim was walking up some steps and he was clipping through the steps. Like, yeah, it shouldn't look like that. It's a AAA title. Actually, is it a AAA? It's a big title.
It is a AAA title, but do you know what? They actually do that quite a lot in most games. They are... Because most of the time, the camera is too high for you to see the feet of the character. So they do that as a way to cheat through it. They're like, oh, we don't need to make that accurate, so we'll just focus it on something else. It probably was just a camera angle where it was like looking on the side. And I'm not saying that as an excuse, but that is what happens.
That is what happens. But also, it's a week out.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had time to do the next update patch. Or maybe it's something that they didn't know about, and they're like, oh, cool, thanks for finding that, we'll patch it.
Yeah.
It's been out for like 6 days. It's insane.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. All right, let's read a few more of these comments because we're close in it. We're getting close to the 2.5 hour mark right here. This is good stuff. So a couple of our guys wrote into the Discord server, just like you guys can by clicking the link in the description, joining us, or you guys can do it on Patreon, or you guys can do it in the comment section on YouTube, wherever you guys like. We appreciate it. We have, first of all, and I don't know if you want to pull it up as well in the podcast channel. We'll sort of tandem these together. Your Name for Anime Club, this is our boy Zahir. He says, I stopped playing Ghost because I didn't find the story interesting and the gameplay didn't compel me enough to keep playing. He is the only person that's ever said this in my Twitter timeline anyway. The gameplay is really fun, don't get me wrong. I like the different ways to approach encounters and its variety, however, it can get repetitive. And like I said, I didn't find the story interesting enough to play the main quest. I also really appreciated the focus on exploration and the minimalistic HUD. Other than that, the game doesn't stand out much to me, and I would rather play through the rest of my backlog and then get back to Ghost later. That's a really interesting one. There is a little bit more here he says about the... so let's talk about that first of all. How do you feel about the Ghost?
I mean, look,
just gave there.
There is... there's like, what's the expression, like there's no accounting for taste. Like some stuff just doesn't vibe with people. Like Red Dead, which I'm sure is a great game, and I actually really enjoy the setting. There's a really good show, which here's one that I can mention that is good, called Hell on Wheels, which I think is on Netflix. It's a good show. Set in the same kind of period, right? It's cowboys and whatever. I really enjoy the aesthetic. I have no desire to play Red Dead, and I'm sure it's brilliant. I just don't care, right? And so look, he's not too wrong. Like those major fights, there is some repetitive nature to it. Like it's always the same standoff scene, just with different models in there. When they kill you, it's the exact same animation, just with a different model. The fights are different, I will say. I think they could be more different. That would be fun, but I've been enjoying them. I think the quests. I mean, I will say at least we haven't had like 15 different fetch quests, which I just hate.
Yep.
But there are only so many different jobs you can be given. You know. Personally, I don't feel that way, but I can kind of see what he's saying, although I disagree.
Well, do you know what? I can't see what he's saying, and I say Zahir's a fucking idiot. There you go. You're a fake gamer. Get out of here, you PC gamer. There you go. I also asked people as well if they want to write in about what their predictions or how they feel afterwards about the Xbox event, and a couple of people have written in things about the Xbox event prior to the event happening.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see where their feelings were and what got shown. I'm gonna read this out anyway. This one is still from Zahir. He says.
Yeah.
For one, I would like to see a first-party Xbox game that I'd actually be interesting and that isn't Halo. So you're going to have to write back and tell us if there was any games that you was interested in. There's also that rumor, this was a terrible rumor, about no more Xbox Live Gold membership, which would be a huge win for them, because I don't think we should be charged to play online games. I guess because all games are basically online now, charging for it's a little bit obscene. But that was a rumor, and that would have been a nice swing as well, actually. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen there. The free games are cool, but they have Game Pass, which is pretty successful. Hopefully this means that Sony will stop charging people to play online too. Oh, I don't think so if it didn't happen. I want to see some new IPs from Xbox, some console sellers. That didn't happen. And I hope that they're not trying to copy Sony with the third-person cinematic linear games, because we already have enough of them. We do, they don't, however.
Yeah.
They need one or two. They need
Big
something.
agree. Agree there.
Thank you, Zahir, for writing in.
Cool. So Dylan says, also Zahir, I want to hear your thoughts having seen it now.
Yeah, please.
Dylan says, I've been playing Ghosts forever now, and I absolutely love it. It's consumed my life, and the best thing about it, it doesn't feel like a job. You can do everything at your own pace without having to worry about your level and stats, and just explore the beautiful island that is Tsushima and get rewarded for it. The combat is so much fun, feels like a greatly improved version of Jedi Fallen Order. Ooh, yeah, I can feel that. Yeah. Which was really nice and sick. It looks and makes you feel so cool after each fight as you put your sword away. Also love that there's no mini-map or compass. The guiding wind is such a good mechanic, in my opinion, and it actually makes you look at the wind and the world to keep your eyes out for shit, and it's not that's not marked, and just strengthens your immersion. I find myself looking at mini-maps way too frequently than I should in some games, so not having it now makes me take in all the beauty of the world, and I love it. Dude, freaking paragraphs.
Yeah.
I love the game, and I can
Break
tell.
it up.
Yeah, I love the game, and I can tell I'll love it even more later on. But of course, no game is perfect, and this game has lots of flaws, but I only share the ones that bug me the most. Jin's walking animations don't change when the shape of the land changes. Okay, yeah.
This was something they brought up in the As Always podcast as well, is that like when he's going up terrain, his walking animation, his running animation are still the same.
Yes.
I've only noticed that now hearing that.
I did notice it.
It didn't bug me before, but I don't think it would now. Anyway, yeah.
I did notice it, but one of the things that I felt countered it out was that if you sprint for a long time, he gets winded, he slows down, and then so I felt that cancelled out personally, because it was another nice little touch. There's literally no walking upstairs animation, no pulling out or putting away your bow animation, so it just teleports from your back. That'd be my current review of the game, and I don't have any thoughts on the Xbox event, but I'm looking forward to it. I would also like to know how you felt afterwards.
Yes, please tell us. So I did say to everyone I want brief thoughts, and Diogo, for some reason, was the only person that listened. Brief thoughts on Ghosts are as follows: loving the open world and combat, which I was very hesitant from the reviews. Still on Act 1. I've kitted out Jin so much that I'm able to do quite well in battle, and explored most of the southern Tsushima. I'm never going to get that name right. Side quests are good, fun too, and they aren't repetitive, and tell their own tales. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect there.
I tend to agree. I also wanted to say, Dylan said one thing, which I can't easily find. Where is it? Oh, the wind and the minimap and stuff. I actually have been really enjoying that.
It's been great. We was worried that you weren't going to be able to get anywhere because you get lost so easily, but it turns out the whole game is getting lost so easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also turns out that because, it's so open, because I get turned around in like cave sections and maze sections and stuff, right? And games frick you. But it turns out that when I can navigate, I get lost because of my shiny object syndrome, not because I'm getting lost in the game. So, that's good. Jake Ryan says, it took me a while to really get into this game, and it wasn't really until the end of Act 2 that I was like, now this is good. I can't believe you're already on Act 2.
How did you get to Act 2?
From there on, I loved the game, and the ending was fantastic. The combat is fun, and I love the art style of the world. It's perfect for photo mode. Now that I've finished the game, I can go back to the side quests, which I'm very excited to do, and max out my armor and katanas. I give this game 8 out of 10. Next up, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I would be really interested to hear what you guys who played Ghost and then go to Valhalla have to say about it personally, because it's like, unless they do delay, it's 2 days away from Cyberpunk. There's no way I'm even going to bother getting it until months later. So I'm going to rely on you guys to tell me how good Valhalla is.
And also, when we've got a parkour system better than any Assassin's Creed game ever in Ghost of Tsushima, why do you even want to play Assassin's Creed? Guys, I put this tweet out as proof to you guys. It's proof. All right, the next comment is from our boy, The Great Gamer, #Marquee Movie Club. And he says, Valhalla, he's got that vomiting face right there. Worst game of 2020. Hasn't played it yet, but he's already given it the stamp. Put it on the box, Ubisoft. Put it on the box. Anyway, what did you guys feel about Ghost? Oh, we've given our thoughts. I should have read this in advance.
Cool.
Shall I read the next one? Because that was
that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. So Marquee, #Marquee, fake Shon, Diogo's fave. Who is that? Shon. Okay, that is Shon. All right, here we go.
I hate you boys and these stupid names. Just stick to Shon. Like, this is why I like Nywroc. Do you know what? Frick it. Nywroc's my favorite. Do you know why? Because his name's just Nywroc. That's it. And do you know why that makes him my favorite? Because my name's always just been Sheps, and I respect it.
Your name
Nywroc,
actually has been Sheps the whole time.
Yeah.
Nywroc, you've just been adopted. I will say, the worst part is when they change their name between us talking and me editing the podcast.
Oh God, it's awful, innit?
I'm like, okay, so screenshot. Oh shit, this is someone else. No, wait, that is the person. I'm talking about. Fucking hell. Anyway, Shon says, I am loving Ghost of Tsushima. Definitely a contender for Game of the Year. I agree with that. I have fully liberated the first area and got all the secrets in that area besides the banners. I am now on Act 2 and still doing side quests. Also, I can't stop taking pictures in this game. This is way too beautiful. I do wish there was a lock on the system for combat. Otherwise, the story, the gameplay, and the exploration is really, really good. I put one too many reallys there. He only said really good. He's not that enthusiastic about it, okay?
Right.
Also, I like to mention the loading times for the fast travel are insane. This game definitely does not need an SSD. That is very true. So great right there.
I think when he said the lock, is he talking about the camera angle? Because I've had a couple of times where like I jump over something but I didn't see it and I get stuck somewhere. Like that bugs me, and I do wish there was some way to make that a bit more smooth. But
I agree. There's sometimes where like the camera's in a tree and I'm like, shit, I have to take my finger off of the buttons now to turn the camera. And
right. Yeah. Also, the dodge button I feel should be something, maybe something else. Something about going to circle to dodge versus L1 to block. Having to take my finger off the button to see what's going on. A finger off the analog stick seems to be bugging me. So I wish maybe it was like X, which I don't know why, but it's just so much quicker to bang X than anything else.
I know what you mean.
Or maybe R3, dodgers R3 and like blockers L1, something like that. So, the nunfucker, aka Ben. Ghost is bloody, I know. Ghost is bloody great. Beautiful graphics, fun gameplay, and one of the best photo modes in a game ever. I finally completed Act 1, the story is shaping up, and I'm looking forward to see what happens, but the only thing that bothers me is the camera. It's too close to Jin, and there's no way to change it. But yeah, bloody great game. It made me come, so 9 out of 10.
Thank you so much for that, Ben. One thing about the, what was he saying? This is bloody great as photo mode, yes.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere, this might be a confirmed thing or it might have just been a rumor, Sony pay each one of their first-party developers extra money so they can put a really, really cool photo mode in their games, because it has like a a self-feeding, like a feedback effect, where it's like everyone posts it on social media. That makes PlayStation look good. That makes the game look good. People might want to go out and buy it. It's like free advertisement, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the reasons why you get the best photo modes, because Sony give them so much money to make it. It's fucking great. What money well spent. Sheps' son Nywroc says, excited to see Halo Infinite and at the Xbox event. Really hoping it's good. Ooh,
dude, I need
that did
you
not
to
age well.
I presume at this point he's spent the last of this entire podcast in the live chat beefing it out.
Yeah.
But if he hasn't, like if he just got here, dude, I really want to know what you think, what you thought. I suspect it's not great because I know his game of the year so far is Doom Eternal, right?
Yes.
And in comparison, Doom just shit all over it. It's not even funny. It just makes me feel bad. Yeah. God. So there we go.
I feel sorry if he wasn't like here from the beginning and we're just like keep bringing it up for him. He's like, oh God, why are we talking about it again?
Let's see. D says, "Oh, these aren't really about ghosts anymore, but should we keep reading them?" Yeah.
What's he? If it's something interesting, we'll say it.
So this is something that I was saying before the stream started, because it was me making the stream amazing before you arrived. I was saying that a big banger, that Halo isn't big enough to hold the franchise up, right? Even if it's great, needs something else to take the weight off its shoulders. And so we needed to get Fable, and if they had something else, maybe like Banjo Kazooie, that would be enough, right? Suddenly there'd be life back in this horse. The horse would be back in the race.
Yeah.
And so D says, even though I don't game anymore, I'd lose my shit if they announced another Banjo Kazooie game at the Xbox event. I've wanted that for years, so that's my prediction. Wait, when did he say that? Days before? I guess. Okay, cool. So we both had the same idea. That's interesting because I actually haven't seen this. So cool.
It does say edited, which makes me suspicious. D.
Maybe.
D.
Although it was edited on the 21st. It was edited on that same day.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, we both had the exact same idea, and they do own Rare, so that's great.
There we go.
And then let's see. Right below that, who's that? Husino?
Husino. I think it's Hussein. I think his name's Hussein, but
I think it's Hussein. Yeah, he says what?
What? What?
Yeah, I had to read that.
No, it's great. Great delivery. I like it. Not as good as your New Yorker impression, but
yes. Oh yeah, movie club. You guys are in for a treat.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I think that's actually maybe Boston, but wherever it is, it's fine.
I mean, same sort of deal. Right, all the Bostoners go to New York.
New York, yeah.
I think this is actually the last comment, and Nywroc actually replies. Last comment, this is from our boy Super Daniel. This is Xbox Kill D. Says, rant on Ubisoft. Rant, darling.
General Grievous.
General Grievous, come in here and let's have a rant, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's it.
Rant on Ubisoft. In my opinion, I think Ubisoft is the most out-of-touch gaming company. The choices they make is baffling and annoying. The whole RPG and non-realistic elements in AC games is so bland. I feel like Ubisoft are still stuck on the Witcher clone fad, and they think that's what everyone wants, but the fan base just wants to play an Assassin's Creed, not a Viking or warrior. Sorry, wants to play as an assassin, not as a Viking or warrior. And now that they're planning to release their game right beside the creators of the game they've been trying to imitate for years, it's to death. It's just death. It's like a car crash about to happen. You're like, I can't not watch, but it's going to be terrible. Also, there's the whole thing about gamers not liking female protagonists. We did cover this, which is a blatant lie. And I heard how it was a struggle for even Ubisoft Quebec to convince higher ups to put Cassandra in the game, which shows that Ubisoft is so out of touch that is frustrating. I'm against AC games having a male and female choice because I feel like it harms the story. But Ubisoft are too dumb to realize that gamers aren't sexist, or maybe they're the sexist ones. Exactly my point, Daniel. Thank you very much for making that abundantly clear. It isn't the gamers. We just want a good character. We don't care.
Yeah.
As Shep says, what's between their legs. We really don't care.
I even put a tweet out about this, right? Don't know if you saw it.
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, and it was basically I love playing as Joel. I love playing as Ellie. Doesn't matter what's between their legs. They both slay puss.
Yeah.
And that's all we care about. But the reality is, if you make amazing characters with an amazing story, no one gives a frick. As long as, right, like Ellie's shanking people in the back with a knife or shooting them, right? If Ellie was going up and having to fight someone in a boxing match, that would be different. So it's where it's appropriate. It's appropriate for her to do that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, make it fit, make a great story, make a great character. No one cares. No one cares what gender they are or if they're gay. It doesn't fucking matter because they're awesome, right?
Yeah.
No one cares. I would be interested to know, though, Super Bleach, Super Dan, whatever we're calling you these days. There's freaking too many of your names. If you still think Ubisoft is the most out of touch, having just seen 343 release what they released at the event, I really genuinely want to know if you think they're the most out of touch. Although, as you said, and it was a good point, they are releasing their next game days before the company that they've been trying to copy releases their giant flagship game. So, do you know what? It's neck and neck, I think, but I would like to hear your thoughts.
There's another contender as well, Bethesda. Like when they made Fallout 4 and then Fallout 76, it was like they completely cut themselves off with the whole outside world, and they were like, all right, guys, we're going to make the next Fallout game. Everybody loves Fallout, so it's going to be a banger. Yeah. And then it comes out and it's like, wait a minute, you guys have moved on from Fallout? There's other games out there? What?
It's a good point. It's been so long and we've had so much other just garbage news and freaking stuff going on this year that I forgot about Fallout First and 76 and all that stuff. So thank you. Yes, so 3 just insanely out of touch.
You're welcome. This is my job to remind you of the crap in game.
Right. And I guess on that note, on that great, it literally can't get any worse. Oh no, I said it out loud.
You said it, you son of a bitch. Oh god. Yeah, so that will be the end of the podcast, man. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for writing in, everybody who did. All of you guys that are listening everywhere in podcast services, YouTube, wherever you guys are, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for liking. Thank you for rating us 5 stars, all that stuff like that. If you guys got any, for future things, if you guys have any topics you want to send to us, feel free to send it to us in Discord or messages. I'm on Twitter and stuff like me and Sheps are both on Twitter. You can send it to us anytime and we can talk about it. And in your questions, I want to revive the whole what we're all playing. I didn't do it for this week because we're all playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world is playing that game. But next week,
except
let me know
Zahir.
what you guys. Oh yeah, Zahir's not playing it. Zahir's gone back to Persona. That's what he's playing. He only plays Persona 5.
He probably is. Actually, I want to know if Zahir's interested in any of those Xbox. There were 2 JRPGs, I think, they showed. So I'd be interested to know if he's interested in... that's a lot of time to say interested. I'm curious to know if he's interested in either of those games because I think they're both up his alley.
I mean, if it's not Persona, then he's really not interested in it.
Fair point.
But yeah, let us know. Let us know for the next week what you guys are playing, what you guys are doing, and we'll catch you both in the both of us. Sorry, we'll catch you guys in the next one. I'll catch you, bro, in the next one as well.
I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for hanging with me for like 3 hours talking gaming. It was good fun.
Good fun. It was good fun, bro. I love it. All right. See you later, boys.
Catch you in the next one.